recording. And we have enough space. Well, I jinxed us last time. I said at the beginning of the podcast, for no apparent reason whatsoever, I decided to say, wouldn't that be crazy if we just forgot to hit record and we did a whole episode, which we didn't. That didn't happen last time. But I've been running, apparently 63 podcasts is the limit of the SD card, or 62, because last week was 62. And because that's, I haven't deleted a single one. And
that's kind of impressive.
We found it. I don't know what size that one is. It's not small. It's probably a 64 gig. We filled up 64 gig of audio. And it records in multi-track, so that's technically 5 different recordings with every podcast.
It's a lot.
So whatever that reaches out to be. But we are at episode 63, but based on something you put at the top of the run sheet, this may be the end of the Cigar Politico. It may not survive.
I forgot what I put at the top of the run sheet.
You may not survive this first topic on the list.
Ooh, I'm really hot in my ears. You can turn it down a little bit. Oh. So we're at my son's baseball game, okay? And the team is we're new to the team, so you kind of have to, for those who don't understand youth sports, you kind of got to work your way into the team, right? You can't just come in full force, right? You just kind of, you have to, everybody has their assigned seats at the game. Everybody knows exactly where everybody's supposed to sit. So if you're the new parent to the group, you kind of got to work your way in, right? You kind of sit off to the side. You see where everybody's sitting, making sure you're doing it right. You just kind of
can't take anybody's seat at church.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of the same thing. So we're sitting there and and I notice in the sky there are the like the water vapor off the jet planes.
Chemtrails.
Yes. So one of the moms out loud in front of everyone goes, "That is a hill I will die on." And I'm like, what in the world is happening? And one of the dads in the perfect Texas country accent goes, "Hey, be careful there. California's sticking out a little bit too much." And again, I don't know these people super well. My wife knows some of them better than I do, but I'm just like, that is the funniest thing I think I have heard in quite some time.
So she was dying on the hill that chemtrails exist?
That chemtrails exist, yes.
But that's usually I don't know if that one is political. There's probably people on both sides.
Well, I'm not doubting that they exist, but I'm just saying, like, that particular night, there were probably 15 to 20 across the sky.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they were really dosing us.
Yeah.
When you talk about chemtrails, I just don't understand the why of it. Like, so you mean they're like dosing everybody? Like even themselves? The people that are in charge? Maybe they're immune to whatever we're being dosed with. I don't know.
But when I was a kid, though, they were always there too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But to be clear, the first item on the run sheet says your California is showing. And when I saw that, I thought you could possibly be talking about me. Mm-mm. And them are fighting words. For those listeners who aren't in the state of Texas, if you tell someone from Texas their California is showing, that's... I was going to say, that podcast might not have survived it. This might have been the end. This is a very bitter cigar, so I've never had one of these.
Here.
It's a Rocky Patel.
If you want.
No. I'm going to stick with it and see if it gets better. I probably won't. But it's a Rocky Patel, which I like. Mm-hmm. A lot of theirs. I've just never had. This is their vintage 2003 Cameroon. It's not as light as a Connecticut. I don't know what you call it in between. But
it starts with an H.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say habanero, but that's not right. That's a pepper.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah, it's up there on the screen.
This is like a Colorado.
Oh, okay.
So, like, you got your Connecticut and then your Colorado Claro. I'd call this a Colorado. Then your Colorado Maduro, then your Oscuro is your super dark.
What's the one on the far right in the length? Like on the far right. What's that say?
Grand Corona.
That's what I have right here.
I was gonna say I'm pretty close, dadgummit.
It's a long one. It's a Grand Corona. I figured I've been saving this for a podcast like this.
I'm gonna say mine's a double Corona and yours a Grand Corona.
Yeah. I've been saving it for a podcast like today because I figured we're gonna be here for a few minutes.
I think so too. And I'll also have my protein snack over here in the side.
Looks a little bit like baby vomit, dude.
It's so bad. I've never eaten on the podcast before, but gotta get it in. So I'll whenever you get on a rant.
There'll be a few tonight.
Let me say a hot button thing about education. I'll be able to finish the bowl. I sent you a video. I already forgot what it was. It was a principal.
It was a principal.
Talking about Chromebooks.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason Chromebooks were not for the reason so many Chromebooks, you have 1-to-1 Chromebooks in education, 1-to-1 meaning every student has a Chromebook at a certain age and above, was not for an educational purpose. It was because they got a bunch of money during COVID.
I mean, there's some truth in it. I probably don't have a hot button take on that as much as some people do because I don't use them as much as most people do.
Really?
And so I've also asked around since you and I have been having these conversations about Chromebooks and education and some on the pod, some off. Like I would guess that our student, like if you're saying there's an 8-hour day, I would guess a secondary school student in our district is on them less than 2 hours a day.
Really?
Yeah. I would say it's less than that. And because not every teacher uses them. Not like I have kids that literally are in our ag shop or automotive shop for the first 4 periods of the day.
Oh, okay.
They come to me fifth
like
period.
CTE.
Yeah. So, and when you think about Chromebooks, I think the kids really think they're on them a lot, but I don't think like if you were to break it down a minutes per day, it would be less than 100 minutes a day.
Okay.
Well, even in like my class, if I'm there, we're not very rarely are we using just straight Chromebook the entire time. Now, if I'm not there, it's usually on a Chromebook, and I can't really control that.
Yeah.
But there is a big push. There is a big push to go away from them.
I can see that.
The only this is not where you usually don't start out hot and heavy to start the pod, but I don't have a hot take on that. Like I don't think they should be on their Chromebooks the entire day either. So that's not shocking or, something that's like really revealing to any educator. Like they need to be on the computer enough to know how to use the computer. But if the state is going to continue to have this test online, then we have to continue to teach online. Now, if they decide to go back to paper and try to decide to do that, then I could see it being even to where they don't even have them at all.
Yeah, I see the point, but also like if you think about a preparedness standpoint, I spend my entire day on a computer.
Yeah.
And every time I have a meeting, like my agenda's online, back there on the bar, the top hutch. It's the big silver one. Man, that's a rough one. I'm going to keep it up though.
Sorry, it's blowing right in my face today. But I think I know where you're going with that. Like when I worked in the business world, I was on my computer for 8 to 10 hours a day. But I don't think that's also age appropriate for a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old.
No, and
that's what that guy was talking about.
Yeah, I think so too. And they have, it's good to learn collaboration, but sometimes if you put collaboration in the hands of an 11-year-old, you'll do like my 11-year-old son did this past week, and I get a call from the teacher. And I'll tell you this. He's super smart. He does extra work. He wakes up in the morning wanting to do math homework. Like he loves it, okay? And so I never know when the teacher calls if it's going to be he did amazing on this or if it's going to be he was off task. Because he's your GT kid. He gets bored. And he doesn't have to pay attention at the same level to be able to pay attention and get what he needs.
To comprehend what he's
right.
I got you.
But, we have
Do they level their classes?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have conversations with him like, hey, even if, buddy, like I sit in meetings every single week that should have been an email. Like you're an 11-year-old. I'm obviously an adult with a real world job. So I'm not trying to put the same pressure on you, but it is a skill to learn to say, hey, I don't need to be listening to this, but I'm going to be respectful and listen to this. Like, and, you know, then you can also talk with the teacher about giving more work because he'll do it. He won't feel like he's being put down for having to do more work than everybody else. He'll love it. But what they've started doing, so they started on Google Docs. All of them shared a Google Doc with each other, and they would sit there and use it as a message board and chat on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure you know this. You teach kids, but they didn't like that if they ever got caught, it shows all the editors. So then they switched to Canva. Because every kid gets a Canva license in that school, and it doesn't show. I guess you can turn off or whatever. I never use Canva in my day to day.
Yeah, you can turn off the editor,
so it doesn't show who edited it. And they're sitting there. And that's what he. So she calls me. She's like, "Well, they had a Canva document that they were sharing with each other," and she says nothing inappropriate. And I'm like, "Well, thanks for leading with that," because my mind's starting to be like, "What?" But that is part of the conversation we had with him.
Right?
Was someone else could type something inappropriate on there. You're on the group. You're one of the editors. You're getting in trouble even if you never did it.
Right.
Like, so he's 11, you know, about to go to middle school. So having to have those types of conversations with. So, you know, whether they're on their Chromebooks all day or not, they're apparently already learning how to collaborate on documents.
And two, that is such a skill, but also like a parent thing that you need to have conversations with your kids about, is because those things don't ever go away.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you think they do. Like, I think that that's such a hard lesson for kids to learn. Like, even when you delete your text messages, they don't go away.
No.
And it's something you got to learn very, very early in life, because man, it can get you in trouble real quick.
Oh yeah.
Because if you don't, it's going to cause issues. But we went to Oklahoma City last week. Have you been there? Like in the since post-COVID?
Oh, maybe not since post-COVID.
It is a clean city.
Yeah.
We stayed right in downtown. We were at
I have actually, because the accounting firm, we had an office up there and I had to go up there for a little bit. So yeah, I have. Bricktown area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super nice. I was very impressed. You know, when you travel to some of these downtown areas, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston, you know, we've been to Minneapolis, Chicago, you know, all the major, New York, you expect a homeless scene.
Yep.
It's just kind of expected.
Right.
Obviously I didn't go to LA, so I don't know about that one. I don't know how to compare it to that one, but I saw very, very few homeless people. Now there were some in like on the outskirts, but right in downtown, there was hardly none. Now it was a very high police presence too. So that could have had a part of it. And there's also a lot of young girls running around. So the police were very, very prevalent between the sections of hotels and the convention center.
Okay.
Because they had a big construction there, actually creating the Oklahoma City Thunder and new stadium. And so there was a big police presence between the two. And I don't know if that was part of it, but clean city, we had some great food. Well, pause. My wife had some great looking food. I tasted it. She had traditional African cuisine.
Okay.
Some kind of soup, like okra stew soup. It was good. It was good. Audio is echoey. Still be able to hear, but a little echoey. Sounds like you're... Okay, hold on. I'll fix that. But anyways, it's one of those things where you go and you want to experience the city, but you're stuck at these tournaments all day long. And so I do struggle when we go to these things, because like a part of me wants to go, you know, roam the city, but then you're stuck for 6 or 8 hours in this convention center.
You don't even get like your next game's not going to be for another 4 hours, so you can.
No. So they usually go in 2 sessions. The first session is in the morning, and then you have an AM session and a PM session.
Oh.
So, and the 2 pool days, like if you start at 7 a.m., you're there from 7 until 1 or 2. And then the second session starts at 3. You're there from 3 until 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Our games are canceled Saturday because of rain. Wasn't sad about it again. Needed a day. So we'll have makeup games, but sometimes that stinks because that can change up your weeknights, because they'll do makeup games on, some random weeknight. But we've had the last couple of Saturdays where it's rained out games. Yesterday and the week before last, and I was just like, I needed that day because we were going to see Bruno Saturday night, so it was nice to get everything in order and done, and then head off to the concert. So it was a good show.
Give me details.
It was a good show. Like, one thing that was interesting to me, and I'm gonna run this by our audio engineer friend in Nashville, but when we did the weekend, they had all of the things hanging from all of their speakers and amps and all of that lighting thing, rigs hanging from the roof, which was AT&T. They didn't have any of that here. And I wonder if that...
Where was it?
So this one was at Globe Life. So baseball stadium. And I wonder if that retractable roof can't support weight. But like AT&T can. And that's why they did it that way. Or maybe because it was a little bit distracting. Like, because you've got these tall, basically posts, like hexagon things going straight up. And you can see through it if you're in that area. Like, if it was right between you and the stage, like, I would have been like, this is not great. But ours is just kind of like if they went off to the side, we would lose them.
Gotcha.
We could see, like, we had one on each side of us, and then we had kind of the stage in the middle. But it was these tall towers with the lights at the top and all the speakers and stuff on those posted up on the ground instead of hanging. And I'm sure it's probably a to each their own kind of thing. But I've never been to a concert at Globe Life, which is our baseball stadium here in North Texas where the Texas Rangers play. And that was the first time I've ever been to a concert there. I went to the NFR there a few years ago when the stadium first opened up, and Vegas, because of COVID, wouldn't let them have the NFR. So they brought it and had it in there. They had it. So that was pretty cool. But obviously that's just a big dirt arena. It's not.
Right. But, so y'all were sitting in center field?
Right? Center right, I would say. Not right center, but center right.
So the speakers were in to your right and to the left of the stage?
Basically, yeah. So they had obviously sound equipment down in the center, but then they had like 3 big hexagonal like posts coming off each stage left, stage right. So if you were kind of sitting off like right center or right field or left center, that would have been in your direct line of sight.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. Like, they were open, like with just posts around them and then all the cables going up. They had lights on them and stuff. They used it, but it was an odd setup. But I'm not going to complain. It was a great show. He had Anderson .Paak opened for him.
Yeah, I like him.
Which he opened as his alter identity as DJ Pee Wee. Which is great. Like, he's great. Like, he did a bunch of he didn't do a bunch of crazy songs. He did like a bunch of just fun, get the crowd going songs. And it was great. Like, he'd get out there and dance, and he had a Rangers jersey made for him, and like it was. I like that guy a lot. Then this guy named Leon Thomas came out.
Yep, I've heard of him.
It's not great.
No,
like his stuff. It's very rap rock.
Yeah.
But I don't mind that. I think that's cool sometimes. But more like, not like Beastie Boys, more like soulful rap rock.
Oh, okay.
Slower.
Okay.
But lots of,
so like an
bluesy.
Yeah.
Bluesy, like guitar solos and stuff. So that's fine. Like I could really get into that. But his mix was not great. And it's crazy because Anderson .Paak came out with his DJ set, sounded amazing. Which of course that's, just basically a stereo line coming out of a DJ board. But then Leon comes up and I'm like, oh man, because I've never been to a concert at Globe Life. And I'm like, if Bruno Mars sounds this muddy and this bad, I'm really going to be disappointed. Like, it's one thing to see him.
Right.
But if that's just the way concerts sound inside Globe Life,
Yeah.
And it didn't. He came out.
Good.
His mix was amazing. Everything was clear. Sounded just like he did on the record. He put on a great show. He went for like 2 hours, which I think is, I think the standard's probably 90 minutes for a concert.
Yeah.
The Weeknd went for over 3 hours, but Bruno went for like 2 hours. He did a ton of his stuff. His first full set was all of his new album, The Romantic, which is the Romantic Tour, so that makes sense. Then he came out. He did like 4 sets. He stayed on the stage all but 2 of the times. He had a DJ come out or his keyboard player basically do a DJ set on some stuff. So it was never like no music was going on. His band is amazing. The guy's just talented. He played every instrument. The romantic stuff is the new album is very Latin, which he's half Colombian, so
makes sense.
Has those roots. It was a great show. Really great show. Packed house. Of course, they sold that one out, and then they have another show tonight. But I had good seats, you know. We were basically, like I say, right on the rail, or a couple rows back from the rail at center left field. So it was still pretty far away.
Yeah.
Like he was basically on home plate.
Did they have big screens? So you can at least see.
Screens on each side, screens behind him. So
yeah, that's when we went and saw Post at AT&T.
Yeah.
He was on the opposite goal line from us, but they had a center stage kind of where he walked back and forth, and then he closed in his finale on the other side in one that elevated up. It kind of, I would describe it as like a hanging stage.
Yeah.
And it was just on cables and it just went up. I was actually afraid he was going to fall off. But I mean, it was phenomenal. He did 2 sets, but it was about 2 hours. His part was about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Each opening act got a little bit longer. Sierra something was the opening act, and she brought out Joe Jonas.
Okay. And
then Jelly Roll did about an hour to an hour and 30, and then he went 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right under 2 hours.
He was really good. I like the Silk Sonic stuff with Anderson .Paak.
Yeah. Did he come out? Did Anderson .Paak come out?
Yeah. So he came back out. Which, I mean, I knew like it would have been a complete waste if he only had Anderson .Paak on tour with him just to do that DJ set.
Yeah.
So I know like he's got to be coming back out. So he did, and they did like 4 of their Silk Sonic songs.
By the way, Pac Anderson or Anderson .Paak, whatever, on NPR is one of the best Tiny Desk concerts of all time.
He's
right
so
up
talented.
there with Mac Miller.
And he's one of those people that a lot of people may not know his name, but you know stuff he's done.
Yeah.
Like I was telling that to my middle daughter. She's a big musician, loves music. And I said, you know, a lot of people think about Pharrell Williams and like, oh yeah, he did that song Happy. And I'm like, no, Pharrell Williams is a producer.
Yeah.
He's done a ton of songs you've heard of. A lot of Britney Spears stuff. He did Drop It Like It's Hot for Snoop Dogg. He did Hot in Here for Nelly. Only Just a Dream for Nelly. A lot of R&B stuff, some Jay-Z stuff. Like he, you know, Pharrell Williams is much bigger in the music scene than just that song or whatever.
Right.
But then Anderson .Paak's kind of in the same vein.
Yeah.
As a producer. So.
Well, and then you got a lot of those songwriters. My daughter this weekend went to see Hardy. And so like he sang some of the songs that he wrote. Yeah. And you don't even realize that he wrote those songs.
Right.
And I can't remember which one it is. It's Be Her or Be Me or something. I don't remember. By Ella Langley that he wrote. Yeah. And it's like you would never think that he would have written that.
Right. We talked about that too because my middle daughter, she was thinking like what? So she I guess had in her mind that everybody who sang a song, it was like their song. And I was like, no, Whitney Houston never wrote any of her songs. Yeah. You know, she didn't write any of them. And she was singing other people's songs. And, you know, it's just, but those are considered her songs. Even I Will Always Love You. Dolly said that is now your song.
Yeah, because Dolly Parton wrote that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And she performed it first. And then when Whitney did it, it was like, that's your song now. You can, and if you think about that song, you think about Whitney Houston singing it.
Absolutely.
You know,
I had actually forgotten until you just said that's the case. When you said that we had a new set design, this is not what I was thinking. Well, I mean,
gym jeans got me. I just couldn't handle it anymore.
Really?
No, I thought that'd be funny to say though.
Okay, I did try it. I tried it.
Really?
So yeah, I was like, well, maybe there's something to this, you know? So whenever our girls go and work out in the weight room, after they're done, I try to get a couple of squats and bench and stuff. Just a little, 10, 15-minute workout in. And I had jeans on and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. I don't get it, man. It's too restricting.
Yes.
And it's very much tight in all the wrong areas.
Yeah. Like I really can't imagine. Like if you're going to lay down on a bench, fine, whatever. You're in jeans. You're not moving your legs. Who cares? But I cannot imagine deadlifting or squatting in jeans.
Yeah, I honestly thought you sold that.
I did.
Oh, you bought it back, or you bought a new one?
I did.
You bought the same one?
Exactly. It's great. Why would I buy something different? So, I'm actually going to flip to my camera on purpose here on this one, but on the set. So here's what had happened was when COVID happened, I built out a home gym.
Yep.
Okay. Everybody got a new hobby when COVID happened. I really hadn't worked out until then, since like high school. So I got a home gym, built it out, worked out at home. Then we moved offices when I worked for the accounting firm, and they had a super nice gym on like the second floor of the building, free weights, squat racks, everything, like really nice stuff, everything you could want. And so I never worked out at home. I still had this stuff, but I never used it. And I was like, well, I'm never using this stuff. We want to like rearrange and make the garage a little easier to hang out in, because this stuff used to be on the other wall, which is where we have like our leather couches and stuff to hang out in the garage. And I'm like, so that's not working anyway. So I sold all of it. The whole unit. I was like, whoever wants it, like, come get it, but you got to take all of it, and here's the price. And this is good stuff. And then changed jobs. But there was a gym kind of close to the new job. So that's where I see the guys working out in jeans. That's where this whole conversation's come from. I changed jobs at the very end of August last year. So it's been 8 months or so.
Oh, dang. We're coming up on a year on that, huh?
Yeah. And so for the last 8 months, I've just worked out at the gym close to the office, but I always knew that office was eventually going to move. Like they told me when they hired me, they're like, we're moving out of this office. We've got a place that place didn't work out. We moved to a different place, whatever. So now that move is going to be happening a week from Monday. So the movers are coming to get our stuff this week, and then we're moving, and there's no gyms close to that new office. And I've really succeeded and been successful working out on my lunch break, because there's a gym 5 minutes from the office. I go there, do my workout, and I can get back within a reasonable amount of time, get a full workout in. But now it's like 25-minute drive to the closest gym for where this new office is. So I was like, that's not going to work out. And so I was like, well, I can start working out after work or start going in before work, but that doesn't work with soccer and getting kids to school.
Right.
And so it was literally, it was literally the Saturday before Easter. We were heading to my wife's family for Easter dinner. And my wife said, why don't you just set up the home gym again? Put it on the other wall so it's not by the stuff. And I was like, that's a great idea. So on Easter Sunday, sitting at another family's house, I was sitting there on my phone ordering everything. And it all got here within a few days, but that's the new setup. So
it's nice. It looks good.
Yeah. I have a cable machine now too, which I've never had a cable machine before. I'm excited about that new addition, but it's basically it's the exact same Rogue rack that I had before. It's the folding one. And the only time it gets folded up is for the podcast, because it doesn't come off the wall very much. So I can still back the golf cart in here and everything with the rack out. So it's been nice. I like it. It's so easy to, like, especially if I'm working from home or on the weekend, not having to drive, because the gym's 5 minutes from the office, but it's not 5 minutes from my house. So I've been a little more consistent with it. But yeah, that's the new setup. It's, it's been a week, so we have to change up the podcast setup.
Yeah, that's a good system you got there. I didn't see the cable system. It's kind of dark, so I can't really see. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's nice.
A little cable machine.
Yeah. I like it.
I kept all the dumbbells. So we still had those because I would do that at home. So then that's a lot easier space-wise to accommodate than a full squat rack and everything. So I kept all those, and then bought my weight from there's always somebody selling gym equipment online.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, everybody's either getting into it or getting out of it. It's just the way it goes. So I bought all the iron from this guy in McKinney, and I'm an old school, like, weight guy. So it's standard barbell.
Yeah.
Like, good.
Do you have plates?
Yeah, that's what I mean. All the irons.
Okay.
It's all standard barbell plates. So
yeah. I think I'm going through a midlife crisis. It sounds like you are too. Mine is a Jeep, though.
Oh, you should get one.
No, that is not what
Those are cool. I saw a guy, we were doing prom pictures a couple weekends ago, and over in Richardson at a park, And there's a guy that, it was a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
He drove down one of those little streets next to the park with his Jeep, had the top off. And I'm like, man, I mean, you can't just have every kind of vehicle you want, but it'd be cool to have a Jeep around. You should get one.
That is not what you were supposed to say.
According to who?
According to me, I need to resist the temptation of buying one.
No.
YOLO. This is what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
So for those who can't see, it's a 2020 Jeep Wrangler Sport S. There's a couple of them on Facebook. What even got it started is I paid my truck off probably 2.5 years ago, and they keep sending me messages they text me all the time. So I went and got it serviced.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy texts me, he's like, "Hey, would you be interested in selling your truck?" And I'm like, "No." He was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, so I kind of got on the Kelley Blue Book and looked at how much it was worth and then see how much CarMax would give me for it. And that was a bad idea.
Once you start going that direction.
I know. So I told my wife, she was like, well, she actually said today, she was like, "You haven't said anything about the Jeep yet." And I'm like, well, I'm holding off because what I don't want to happen is I don't want it to be a mistake. Because my truck is in really good condition. I mean, it's
a Toyota.
And it's a Toyota. I was actually telling one of my guys that's a mechanic about it. He was like, "Dude, that's a $250,000 mile truck.
Yeah.
You only have 70,000 miles on it. It's 10
yeah.
years old."
Yeah.
He was like, "Are you sure that's what you want to do?" I agree. Go buy the Jeep. It's cool. I like it too. But he was like, just remember, like, a Jeep only lasts about 180 to 200,000 miles if you take really good care of it, which is not always the case. These, a lot of people don't, they take them on trails and they're taking, not taking great care of.
I think it's, if you're really driving it and using it, it can be also a project. Like you can have some afternoons in the garage.
But I definitely don't want that either. So I'm being very cautious about not pulling the trigger on selling my truck, and then I'm stuck without a car because I have to buy one. So I'm going to wait until summer, I think. Like the end of May, sell at the end of May, and then spend a month looking for exactly what I want. Because I want something very specific. All black, blacked out. I want it to have a sound system. Like there are some things that I want on a Jeep if I'm going to own it. But I don't want to take the time and the money. You can do the sound
system yourself, though.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that.
It's fun. I did it on the boat. It's basically the same stuff.
Okay, well, I may be spending a Saturday over here.
Yeah. I love doing that kind of stuff. I talk to people all the time. I was listening to a fitness podcast, and they were talking about this. They said that with this podcast, one of the guys is really into like studies. He's always got like a study or two to bring up in the podcast. So he's that kind of guy. But he said they were looking at studies and it was showing stressful events are not stressful to you if you enjoy it or have the meaning behind it.
Right.
Like they were looking at people's brain activity and like their cortisol levels of having a newborn in the house, which is very stressful coming home from the hospital, especially with your first baby. But like the other effects of having your first child and having your first, being home and being a parent, that negates the negative of the stressful situation.
Okay.
And so
makes sense.
Yeah. Well, like I was changing up the garage, which I want to say, when I put the workout set over here last weekend, the hardest part of that, these rubber mats were still on the other side of the garage that we're sitting on. The workout mats.
That was not fun.
The stall mats. These suckers, you forget how heavy
they're
they are.
heavy. Yeah.
Plus, all the furniture's on them. So, like, have to try to move this stuff out. I basically moved everything in the garage to just the middle. And then,
they just kind of
pulled up these, the plates. The
Rubik's cubes around it.
Yeah. And just, like, that was the hardest part. But, and somebody came over and they're like, "Man, you're always doing something out here." Like it. They're like, I would hate that. And I'm like, I love it. Like I always want to be working on something. Now it's a pain in the butt if it's like your daily driver and something breaks on a Sunday afternoon.
That's my point.
And you got to go to work. Like I understand that can be like, this sucks. But stuff like I got the same type of response from a couple of people when I changed the sound system on the boat, and I did it myself. They're like, I would never do that. I always hire somebody. I don't want to be, because you're crawled up under the helm of the boat, like laying on your back, working above your head, like. Soldering like battery cables and stuff. And like, I love it when it's enjoyable and something you want to do. I like it. But if the type of thing that like on my truck, I had a water pump leak, and like I called in, and the shop was like, "Yeah, for everything we want $1,200," and I'm like, "It's $160 part." I don't, So yeah, I ripped the front of the truck off and changed the water pump, and like it would stink if that was keeping me from being able to go to work. But I was able to, keep some fluid in it, drive it for a couple of days, and then one evening I did it. I enjoy doing those kinds of things. It's not stressful to me, so kind of to each their own.
Well, I'm really, really also contemplating making my truck exactly how I would make a Jeep. It's putting some bigger tires on it, some bigger wheels on it. So I'm contemplating that too. So I'm like stuck between the two places because we don't ever drive my truck anywhere.
Yeah.
But I really want to, like on an evening like last night, like where it was nice outside. I would not, the rain sucked, but if it would have been a nice evening, I would love to take the top off of my Jeep and me and the wife just go ride around for a little while. Not really going anywhere, but like that could be a little date night.
Yeah.
Like escaping whatever we're doing, just letting the wind blow and not in my hair, but in hers.
I think you should definitely do it. I expect to hear an update on the pod next week.
It won't be next week. But I'm really considering.
That's the way. If you get through the school year, then you're like driving a little less.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. My truck sits all summer.
Yeah.
Like it'll sit all summer long, and which is fine. But like if I had a Jeep, I think I would probably drive it more. That's the only bad thing. So I have to be real conscientious of that too, of not getting too many miles.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy driving it.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. I have to make sure I'm not being selfish, but also making sure if this is the midlife crisis, that I'm also aware of it and willing to do it.
Do you have any pet peeves that if you could pass a law to fix, you would?
Absolutely. I want to own a raccoon.
Didn't we look at where you can and can't?
Yes.
In Texas, you
can. Yeah,
can't?
you can't legally own a raccoon, but you can legally own. Yes, you can, but you have to have a whole lot of permits
for a raccoon.
A pet raccoon that you buy legally. Now, I suppose if you fed the raccoons in the backyard, they'll become your thing. But you can legally own a kangaroo. You can own a kangaroo. All you have to have is 5 acres and an 8-foot fence around it.
Okay.
Then you can own a kangaroo. And when you put that on there, I also recognize you did not mean pets. When you put that on there, I was reading it. I was going through it in the week, and I just kind of giggled to myself.
Yeah,
and I was
see
like,
how you could take that. I said any pet laws you like to pass. You're like, I want a raccoon as a pet. No, I meant like little pet peeves. Like, and mine is this: if you can go online and sign up for something super easy, you should be able to cancel it online just as easy. That should be a rule. Like if they let you in the door this easy, they should let you out the door just as easy. Because like it is a pain in the butt to cancel some things.
Absolutely. And it's not just one thing.
No.
There are multiple things like TV subscriptions, for example.
Oh gosh, yes. That's one of the things I love about anything I can at all, including TV subscriptions, I do through my phone. Because Apple makes it so easy to cancel. You literally just go to your profile subscriptions and you can just literally cancel it right there.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Try that.
Yeah. If you go, like, if you open up your settings and go to your profile, it has all your subscriptions that you've done through your phone. Even if it is Apple TV, Hulu, anything like that. If you've done it through your phone, you just tap it and they'll cancel it.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look at that.
Because it's like through Apple Pay or something. So it's through whatever card you have on Apple Pay.
Which, by the way, thank you for Apple Pay. However, I also hate you because we had to get new debit cards.
Yeah.
And that was a pain in the butt to have to go through all of the stuff.
No, it's not. It automatically updates.
Mine did not.
Oh, mine always do. So if I ever have to get a new card because of fraud or something, like you have to wait 5 days or whatever for it to come in the mail, but it automatically updates on my phone and shows the new card number and I can start using it right away.
Maybe it's our bank. Maybe it's our bank that doesn't allow us to do it.
I will say that was a credit card, not a debit card. So.
Oh, yeah. It's a debit card.
Yeah,
when that happened with us, our credit cards, it did.
Yeah,
but my debit card was not easy to do that.
We don't use our debit cards for anything. We pay.
I probably should do that. But
we pay like the house payment and my wife's Suburban. Anything we have to, gets paid out of the checking account. Costco, because they don't take MasterCard. But Everything else after that goes on my MGM Black Card. And that's why we get to go to Vegas. We're going in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, we will not be recording the Cigar Politico. We'll be
You'll be in Vegas?
My first trip, my wife got to go already. On a real trip. I went in January for like 6.5 hours, but just to get some points, and it worked out. But it's nuts. Like, we have a system, and with using that card and taking, 4 to 5 trips a year, like, I'll tell you, man, we're going for 4 nights, and we're staying at the Aria, which is a nice hotel casino. All in for the 4 nights is $180.
Nice.
Like,
and you're using all your points?
Nope. No, it's just I get preferred rates, like comp
okay,
rooms and things like
Gotcha,
that.
gotcha.
So, yeah, it's
And that's your flight and everything?
no.
Oh, okay.
If I move statuses this year, which we should, we'll start getting flight credit. But you got to be in their top status to get flight credit. But it's Southwest, and we have Southwest points.
Yeah, we do the same.
Even if, like, I'll look, and even if, because we don't usually check bags, we just go usually 3 nights is our max. This one's going 4, but so we can definitely do a carry on.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing a carry on, you can do like a Frontier flight. Like, I'm not getting on a Spirit Airlines plane. Sorry.
Well, they may close down. You
Yeah,
see that?
that's right. They're about to be insolvent or done. But I'll get on a Frontier flight, Alaska Airlines, whatever, and because I just have a carry on. But even if it's like maybe $100 more total to go Southwest, we're going Southwest every time.
Yeah.
Just to get to go to Love Field and not have to go to DFW.
Yeah. 100%.
Just for that reason.
And I can't remember. I know we talked about this. Do you Uber there or do you?
No, we drive.
You drive there.
We
You
drive
just
and
park
park. Which that's $20 a day to park at the airport. It's just part of the cost. But we also have the Southwest card and those points. So we get because they took away free bags, with their latest merger or whatever. But you still get that if you have their credit card. So
gotcha.
But we never check a bag anyway.
You know what law I think bothers RFK Jr.?
Yeah.
Pasteurized milk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just have, I having, said what I said and what your view is on raw milk, unpasteurized milk. And the FDA's website says raw milk, unpasteurized milk can harbor dangerous germs that can pose serious health risks to you and your family. You have your own personal views about raw milk. They cannot be part of a health protocol.
Well, the raw milk is not regulated by the federal government. Congresswoman DeLora.
Unpasteurized milk.
Yeah, it's regulated by the states. It's not regulated by us.
Mm-hmm. Well, they can legalize it within their borders.
We don't regulate it. The FDA does not regulate it. It's regulated by the states.
It can't be circulated across
some states
state lines.
allow it, some states do not. It's up to the state. It's not up to us.
Well, you are the head of the Health and Human Services. If raw milk has the ability to put 9 people into the hospital, serious kidney disease, more than half the cases involving children 3 years and younger, you are the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Is there not some moral responsibility or compunction to say, don't drink raw milk? Don't do that because it's unpasteurized and it can cause
you can
serious
stop it.
harm.
So this is Senator Rosa Del Laura. I don't know how you say her name from Connecticut.
Yeah.
Talking to RFK Jr. And
you could see it also. I'm not trying to be too stereotypical, but you could see a picture of her and know exactly what party she belongs to.
Absolutely.
Before you know anything else.
Absolutely. She has blue hair.
She fits a mold on a particular side of the political spectrum.
And as I'm listening to this, I don't think
her,
this
though.
lady is dumb. Like, she's not dumb. She's obviously has an agenda that she's trying to push against RFK Jr., right? She understands what federalism is. She understands that the states are the ones that control that.
I disagree with you. I don't think she actually understands. I think she went into that having no idea.
You really don't think so?
No.
You think I'm giving her more credit?
I think she understands the basic concept of federalism, but I think she asked that question as a gotcha question because when he said we don't do it, it's regulated by the states, she was blank faced. And then that's why she got so passionate because those people,
Oh,
when
100%.
You know those people, when they know they're wrong, they know they're wrong about something, so they get more passionate about it and get louder about it. Like
Yes.
that, she's one of those people.
Well, and we're going to talk about the interviews that RFK has to do and has to deal with these people that are senators that
I
are
feel so bad for him for his voice.
I do feel bad for him. My wife was like, "What's is he sick or something?"
No.
I'm like, "No, he had a vocal cord injury
From a vaccine.
And so I just wonder, like, how much of this is just straight playing the game of politics, or how much of it is truly like they're just ignorant. And you kind of answered your own question. You answered that question right there, but it's just like, what are you doing? Why are you wasting his time with this question? It's not even something he can have control over.
No, they're just trying to get him 9. And plus, anyone who passes away is important. But when she said 9 people, I was like, 9 people died from.
And half of them, like, I think 3 of them were children. And apparently they were given raw, unpasteurized milk straight from a cow.
Yeah.
Which you should not do that. I don't know why they were given that. I don't know if there was some kind of milk. I'm hoping that the parents are not the ones that just went about. I'm hoping that there was some sort of health condition. I'm hoping that there was some sort of health condition to where they couldn't drink, pasteurized milk. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of what I'm giving credit for. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully these parents were not just stupid and thought, oh, I'm going to give these kids unpasteurized or pasteurized milk.
I asked ChatGPT, do the Amish pasteurize their milk? Short answer, no. Traditional Amish do not pasteurize their milk. Most Amish communities prefer raw, unpasteurized milk in their own household. If an Amish farm sells milk to the general market, they got to pasteurize it to reach consumers. So I was just wondering if like these people that had the unpasteurized milk.
Have you ever seen it, like in the glass thing, and then
I've
it starts
milked
to
a cow before.
Okay. I did not know that. But like
and
it starts
when I
to
was in high
separate
school,
a little bit.
I was on the dairy products judging team.
Okay. So you know a lot about milk.
And
I
FFA.
Didn't know. But yeah,
I can drink a glass of milk and tell you if that cow ate some onions. That's literally one of the things. Like, you'll take some milk. It was back then anyway. It could have changed. And it would be like, you'd definitely taste it. Like, yeah, that cow got into an onion patch. Well, ate some wild onions.
Yeah, but I'm totally, like the Twitch says, I'm judging. Yeah, I'm 100% judging these people, because it's just like, come on. We have such bigger things to talk about.
Are the 9 people, were they Amish, or was there some religious reason or some community?
I didn't see that.
Like, type of reason why they got unpasteurized milk? Because I figure most people, if you're trying to get unpasteurized milk, don't you have to work to get unpasteurized milk?
The answer to that question is yes.
Yeah, you're not just going to go pick it up off the shelf at the store. You have to go say, I want unpasteurized milk, so I'm going to go get some. And at that point, like, it sucks that some of them were kids, but also there's more than 9 people this past year who drank unpasteurized milk.
There's a lot of people that drink it.
And 9 people died from something.
So apparently you can only go direct to farmers or herd sharers. That's it.
Or if you have a cow.
It's kind of funny. The only 2 states that sell it at a retail market is California and Connecticut. I'm not joking.
Kidding. So
I just
these
Googled
people
it.
Probably
Yes.
were in Connecticut.
Yeah, where she is. That it says here, retail stores in states like California and Connecticut, raw milk is sold in the grocery store.
It makes sense in California.
Usually in natural food selection.
Those people are crunchy out there. But,
yeah, that's true.
Wow, that is crazy. Well, she has a direct connection. She doesn't want. So here's the thing: go to your state house.
Yeah,
that's all he was saying. He wasn't trying to get out of the question.
No.
Like, he may know that maybe these people that she's talking about, we didn't see the full story. Maybe they are, in her district, or they're in Connecticut. Well, then you need to go talk to your state house, because that's who regulates it.
The states. But yeah,
and if they were in Connecticut and they were citizens of Connecticut, then it didn't cross state lines. So you just, oh my gosh.
Or maybe just read your own state legislature laws.
There's a local talk radio host here in Dallas, and he talks about Trump derangement syndrome, which this definitely is. RFK is a shoot off of Trump. So this is Trump derangement syndrome from this Connecticut. Is she Congress or senator?
Who? Her?
I think she's got to be Congress.
She's a senator.
She's a senator?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the other one in Connecticut?
It says here, third congressional district since 1991.
Oh, she's a congresswoman.
Yeah. Sorry, did I say senator?
Yeah.
I apologize.
That's all right.
Democratic United States Representative from Connecticut, District 3.
So, but he says Trump derangement syndrome makes funny people mean, smart people dumb. And she may be an educated person, but she sounded real dumb just then. Because all she was trying to do, she doesn't care about unpasteurized milk. If she did, she'd go to the person she needs to talk to about unpasteurized milk.
I would be willing to bet $20. And anybody who knows me, I don't bet a whole lot of money. So $20 is a lot for me. I'd be willing to bet $20 that lady's drank raw milk before.
Oh, I don't know.
I bet you. I would bet you $20. But she may not tell the truth.
She doesn't care about it. She doesn't care about unpasteurized milk. She just cares about getting at Trump through RFK. And so, she may be a smart person. I don't know. But TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, makes smart people dumb.
How about Nick Cannon?
So I saw the reaction video. I saw a reaction video to a reaction video of Nick Cannon basically saying, because he got political, and he was asked why he doesn't outright support the Democrat Party, because obviously, since he's black, he should, was the premise of the question. And he said, his reply was, the Democrat Party is the party of the KKK. And so somebody responded to that, and then somebody responded to that response. And so this is going to take a minute. Buckle in, listening-wise. This clip is longer than 5.5 minutes, but I'm going to let it go for about 5.5 minutes because it is important to get some stuff in here. And then I've got some thoughts.
So y'all remember when Nick Cannon said the Democratic Party is the party of the KKK and that Republicans freed the slaves? Well, Isaac Hayes III, which is the son of the musician Isaac Hayes, responded to Nick Cannon. And I want you guys to check out what he said. And then I'm going to respond to him.
I want to talk about what Nick Cannon said about the KKK and the Democratic Party, because I'm not here to bash Nick Cannon, but I'm here to correct Nick Cannon. In the late 1800s, Southern Democrats were absolutely the party of the KKK, 100%. They believed in slavery. They wanted black people to remain slaves and have no rights. In the North, the Republicans, the party of Lincoln, had abolitionists and people wanted people that wanted to have see black people have rights. That is the truth. But here's the part that everybody leaves out. In the 1960s, Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Those two pieces of legislation drove the majority of the races out of the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. And that's the shift in the part that everybody leaves out, because that was a huge political shift in this country. And what that's called is party realignment, right? Where the ideas of a political party switch. Political parties are not static. They can change over time and the ideas can shift. And so that was a huge shift in the Republican and Democratic Party.
So basically what he's saying is in 1964, Lyndon B. Johnson passed the Civil Rights Act, and in 1965, he passed the Voters Act, and that's when the parties switched ideologies. But this is false. That never happened. The parties never switched ideologies. They never swapped ideology. I'm going to explain to you exactly what actually happened in detail. But you see, Isaac Hayes, this is what happens when you get your information from third parties and you don't study it out for yourself. So you accuse Nick Cannon of sharing partial information, but you're sharing false information. We have to hold ourselves accountable to the same standard that we give other people. Because what you're sharing here is this party switch myth. It is a lie given to us by Democrats to excuse and to disregard their past. Now, I wrote an entire book on this subject, so I would say that I'm educated and I have actual knowledge on the subject matter. So according to that knowledge, let me break down to you what actually happened in the so-called party switch. First of all, before the 1964 Civil Rights Act was passed, there was two major civil rights acts passed before that, and they were written up and passed by Republicans. The 1957 Civil Rights Act and the 1960 Civil Rights Act, written up and passed by Republicans. Now, even when it comes to the 1964 Civil Rights Act, though it was passed under Lyndon B. Johnson, the majority of the opposition still came from Democrats. And the Republican Party and its support is the only reason it was passed into law. In fact, Democrats held the longest filibuster in U.S. history trying to prevent this act from passing. Now, Isaac claims this is when Southern Democrats went into the Republican Party and both parties switched switched ideology. This is false. That never happened. Most of the Southern Democrats serving in Congress, serving in the Senate, remained Democrats. They didn't switch over to the Republican Party. They remained Democrats until they died. The same racists, the same segregationists, the same people who passed Jim Crow, the same people who did not want to see black people have rights. They remained Democrats and remained in their seats until they died. Now, was there voting Democrats, Southern Democrats who switched to the Republican Party? Yes, that did happen. But hear me clearly, it had absolutely nothing to do with the Republican Party embracing the former racist ideology of Democrats. Those Southern Democrats went to the Republican Party for the ideas that Republicans did agree with them on. These things had to do with limited government and economy. Nothing at all to do with racism or segregation. The Republican Party has never changed their stance on those things. So what actually swapped was Democrats, national Democrats begin to embrace civil rights. And that's long after Republicans fought to free slaves, pass Reconstruction, pass the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, send federal troops to dismantle the KKK, and then became responsible for passing the 1957, the 1960, and the 1964 Civil Rights Act. National Democrats begin to embrace civil rights not because someday they woke up and had an epiphany that black people were equal to white people. No, it's because they were losing politically. Simple political math is the reason why they begin to embrace black people. They have never been the party of sincere and genuine support of black people, and they're still not. It all had to do with control and regaining political power by coercing black people to vote for them. They passed the AFDC, better known as the Welfare Program, that literally destroyed the black nuclear family by incentivizing black fathers to leave the home so mothers and black children can have federal assistance and financial aid. This was called the man in the house rule. If a man, even the father of the children, lived in the house, benefits were decreased or terminated. This was an intentional strategy to make black communities and black families dependent on the Democratic Party for their livelihood, securing our vote for generations and generations. It was never about help. It was only about manipulation and control. Also, if the Democrats today are different than the Democrats back then why do some of the major Democratic leaders still support and still show up and still endorse members of the KKK? If things have changed, please explain that to me.
There's a book on the bar where the remote was. Can you grab that? Sorry. Got your ears. Because this is an idea that I first really became aware of when I read this book by Stephen Livingston. It's called Kennedy and King. It's a good thick one. It's really well written. The President, the Pastor, and the Battle Over Civil Rights. And it talks about Martin Luther King did not support John F. Kennedy right off the bat when they were running in the primaries, when he was running in 1960. Kennedy had to go get MLK to vote for him and to bring the black vote with him. And it talks about the background of how that happened by basically getting the black vote by providing federal benefits for black families. And so a switch that happened in the Democrat Party. Looking back at one of the things that he said, he talked about how LBJ, the guy who was commenting on Nick Cannon, said that, LBJ, the Democrats passed the 64. That's not true at all. If you can go look up the voting record. The 80% of Republicans voted for the 1964 Civil Rights Act. It was less than 60% for Democrats. So the majority of that act passed. Just like any major legislation today, you usually have to go get a few people on the other side to make up the difference in votes. There's actually a pretty good documentary, docudrama. It's not a really documentary right now on Netflix called LBJ with Woody Harrelson playing LBJ, which is an odd guy to play LBJ in my mind, Woody Harrelson, but it's actually pretty good. And this is basically all it's about. It begins when Kennedy's president. So there's a little bit of that. But then Kennedy's killed pretty early into the docudrama. And then it talks about and ends with LBJ getting the 64 Civil Rights Act passed. But he had to come over, and he was in the minority as the Democrat president, to get this thing across the finish line and to get that passed. And so this idea that there was a party switch is simply not true. Now that can happen. Like, ideas can go back and forth, but just because the Republicans did not create quote unquote welfare programs for black families doesn't mean that they all of a sudden became segregationist or racist. Because like you talked about, that was, I looked up that act, and one of the parts of the New Deal was, if there was a man in the house, even if it's the dad, even if it's the husband, the dad of the kids, then they could receive no benefits, or their benefits were severely limited. So that incentivized the man to leave the house, the man to leave the nuclear family, so the family could get more benefits as it became more and more dependent upon federal benefits. And so I think this is it's a difficult subject to talk through, especially for a couple of white guys sometimes, but I think it's important to talk about, like, when political parties have platforms and what they want to pursue, like, just because someone is saying, like, we are the party of Black America and we do all of these things and we want all these things for Black America, maybe they're providing these benefits and doing these things, the Democrat Party is, in order to get votes, in order to stay in power. And maybe they always provide just enough, but not quite enough, because if they ever solved the problem completely, then they would lose that power and lose that edge. And I think you saw some of the country. The reason I think this is relevant, this is old history, it's old hat. The reason I think this is relevant is I think you saw some of that with the 2024 election and the number of black men that came over to Trump's side in that election and did not vote for an African-American woman to be president. And even so much that you had Obama go into barbershops in New York and Chicago, getting on to these black men in these barbershops saying, you guys, you better show up, and trying to get them to, because they're like, no, we're not going to.
Right.
Like, we're not, the jig is up, so to speak. Like, they understand now all of this welfare and all these supposed federal benefits are not actually helpful in many ways. In many ways, they're harmful. And if it kept people down, held people down from opportunity. And I'm really curious what we'll see in the midterms. Midterms are always odd. And then again in 2028, if that trend continues.
So I teach U.S. history. The AP political party curriculum, which I 100% agree with the dates that they have assessed with this. They say that we are in what's known as the sixth party system. Okay, so the first party system was from 1792 to 1824. Okay, the second party system was from 1828 to 1854. The third party system was from 1854 to 1896. The fourth party system was from 1896 to 1932. The fifth party system, which is what he was referring to, which was a complete flip of the political parties, would have been from 1932 to 1960s.
So that's FDR to Kennedy.
Some people say it went into the 80s, but generally speaking, historians agree that it happened in the 60s. And then we are in what's the sixth party system currently from 1960 to today. And I really, really think we are in the seventh party system right now.
Yeah.
We are in a transitionary phase to where you may completely see the parties flip, like 100% flip over various of things. And one of the things that I always found interesting about this particular slide, I put it in our Twitch, I'll post it on our socials in just a minute. But this particular graph gives a very, very distinct where the presidents fall in their voting records and in their other. And generally speaking, most of the presidents fall right along that center line of left or right. It's pretty much right in the center there. Most of them are. Then you have the outliers that are way far left, way far right. But then it always goes from, if one president is a very, very liberal president, then the next president is always very, very, very conservative. And then there's like 3 or 4 that are in the middle following. Yep. And so it's interesting to me. This stops. I can't remember. I was looking at it a while ago. It stops with Obama's second. It stops with Obama. Like the curriculum stops there.
Okay.
So we haven't had enough history to really
For
for
Trump's
them
first term.
for Trump's first term, Biden, and now Trump's second term.
Mm-hmm.
But like even they put Obama just a little center left with more of a reform party,
Mm-hmm.
and then they put George W. Bush kind of on that same spectrum, just on the right. I can't remember exactly what the term is that they use. I'm trying to read it here, but it's super small, like a liberal conservative or something along that vernacular. But I agree with what they're saying. Like it's not a lack of people teaching it, because I promise you, people who are AP history or just U.S. history people, they're teaching this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is it's so confusing for even someone like me who understands how political parties work and how I even get them mixed up if I don't have it sitting right in front of me, because it's like I can't remember when the switch happened. I mean, there are big things: civil rights movement, Kennedy's assassination, Abraham Lincoln. Those are very clear. It's all those in between, especially like when you're in the war periods, like the World War periods. We were so socialistic with our government because we had to be
With the New Deal and FDR.
Yeah, New Deal, and then like us sanctioning Ford Motors and making them create all these planes and things like that. Now, there was obviously a benefit to that, and there was a reason why they had to do that. Subsidize, that's the word I was looking for. They had to subsidize those things, and it's hard for us in the last 30 to 40 years for us to imagine that ever happening again. Yeah. But you are seeing some of those things happen. Like even, I don't remember if it was Trump or if it was Rubio or if it was Hegseth, went to the Ford Motor Company and was like, look, you got to help us start making some of these things again, just like you did in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. And so that happened this week. And so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, right? Because we have the military industrial complex, we just assume that that's all for what that's from. So, but it's not. It's always been kind of like the government sees the big picture and then the independent companies kind of fall in line according to what the government wants. Right. And this is no different, right? Where you have a Nick Cannon who comes out, and maybe Nick Cannon went on a history binge and just watched everything he could to try to educate himself on why it was that way. But yeah, you're right. You're definitely right in your statement. It's really difficult for two white guys to sit here and talk about this. Yeah. But it is a conversation that has to be had. Right. Because there are a lot of people that are in our shoes that look at this, and it's hard for us to even imagine the like generational trauma that those particular groups of people have, and then try to like have the words to say to comfort / even understand the trauma, but it's there. And so it's interesting to me too, how we are seeing that shift happen to where people who would not have been deemed themselves conservative do support Trump, but just a little bit silent compared to what some people are.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think it's encouraging to see like the moves of how the demographics changed in the 2024 election. I mean, this is not something that like a white guy like me could say, but Herman Cain, remember Herman Cain?
Yep.
He's passed away now, but he was a pizza guy. He had a pizza restaurant. That's how he got his money. But he ran for president. Did he run in 2016 or was it 2012 with Romney?
I can't remember.
He ran. I think he ran a couple times, but I can't remember.
I always think of Ben Carson.
Yes,
you're
him
saying
too.
Herman Cain.
Him too. But Herman Cain said that the Democrat Party, with their approach towards the black family, just put the black family back on a plantation, back where they were dependent and unable to break through and do things on their own and for their own selves. And he says that as a business owner of a large corporation in the United States, as a black man. And like he can say that not only because he's a business owner, but also as a black man with a lot of authority to say like, hey, I got out of this. I quit depending on the government, to provide for me, and went out and did something for myself. And I understand like that's easier said than done. Like there are challenges there that we'll never understand, but it's interesting to see that shift taking place.
100%.
And where that might go.
It's definitely something that's on in the back of my brain to keep a tab on.
Yeah. And to really like dive deep into it, like, I wonder if you'll start to see, because you really, I don't believe you saw as much of the Democrats using, quote unquote, using the black vote and black vote type issues in 2024 as you have in the past.
100%.
It was more along the lines of trans rights and LGBT and women in sports and trans women. And I never know which way it goes. Dudes who want to be women playing in women's sports. Like,
correct.
By the way, did you see Bob Costas' take on that?
No.
It was a couple weeks ago.
No.
So they came out with the IOC and the Olympic Committee and said that they weren't going to, and he's always calling the Olympics, right, for NBC. And I think they asked him the question thinking they were going to get some meat on there. And he basically said, I agree. Like, these people are biologically male. We know that their bodies are different. And he brought up, and my goodness, I wanted to look this up before we recorded so I could give the name, but it was a swimmer who was like 246 ranked as a dude.
Yeah.
But then Leah changed her name to Leah something.
Yes.
But then all of a sudden it was first. He brought that up. He said, you've got somebody who's ranked 243rd, 200, whatever he was ranked as a man. And then all of a sudden he's ranked first when he starts competing in the women's side of things. Leah Thomas.
Leah Thomas. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know what the dude's real name was.
Was ranked 462nd,
462nd even
among
worse.
men.
Among men.
And she achieved
She
topped national ranking after that. So 462nd to first.
as a man to first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like that's ridiculous. Like whatever you want to feel about trans issues aside from anything else, like that as far as a sports issue. And so you saw a lot more of that. And that almost became the leading issue where, as you'll remember, growing up, I mean, Democrats and the black vote was the main thing. Like you would have other stuff like there were subsequent smaller issues, but the Democrats having the black vote was always the main thing. And I feel like that has shifted in 2024, and it'll be interesting to see in 2028. If this anti-ICE and immigration and trans issues and men and women's sports becomes really what takes the forefront.
Let me give you an example of the week. This week we had our area track meet. Okay. One of the girls in our area ran the number one time in the nation. Okay. Because it's all digital timing. It's all done by computer. Ran a 13:03, was the top ranked runner in the 100-meter hurdles in the nation in high school sports. Okay. She would have been 6th had she raced against the boys on that day.
And the boys didn't.
The boys were not
break records.
Not national records. No.
Yeah, they're not. That's just the local meet.
That's just the local area. So two districts.
She ran the fastest girl time
in the nation.
But she would have been 6th place at just a local meet.
At a local meet.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you context.
But here's the thing. That has absolutely nothing to do with the value of a female. Just because dudes can run faster. And like that's the message, because people think somehow if you say that guys can run faster or lift more weights or whatever, that all of a sudden you're saying like women are inferior. They're not.
And why is
it's
that?
just different.
I've never understood that. Like, why is somebody saying that so offensive?
Yeah.
I've never understood, because like I have 3 girls that live in my home, and like I would never want them to be compared to a guy.
And it's like we talked about when we went on vacation, we switched out our bucket seats in the Suburban and put a bench in there. And like, so it's a 60-40 split. And so the 60 side is a little heavier. And so I was getting my wife to help me, and like, this thing's heavy. These car seats are heavy. So she picked it up, that most of the bench, right? And she's like, I can't. I just put it up on its side, stood it up, and hugged it and picked the whole thing up myself. Like, we were trying to carry it tandem. She's like, I ain't got it. I just hugged it and picked the whole thing up myself and carried it in. Like, that's my job. That's my role. Like, why is it like, I don't think any less of my wife because she can't bear hug a car seat and carry it in. Now, here's where people will try to trap you on that. And they'll be like, well, so-and-so could lift that so-and-so woman. Yeah, I bet she could. I bet there's some CrossFitters and some strong competition women out there who could lift so much more than
100%.
double, triple, whatever I could never lift. But I'm also not a strong man or like
Right.
that either. So, but if you take, the best player in the WNBA and put her on a team with, I don't know, the best or even not the best of the NBA, like there's going to be a noticeable difference there. And that's okay.
Yeah. I don't get it. I'll never be able to understand that. Never. And I've tried to, as I've said before, like whenever I'm having a conversation with someone that I totally 100% disagree with, I try my best to try to find the opposing side and be like, okay, I can at least see where you're coming from. I'll never be able to understand that one.
Right.
I can't read that word.
It's a dignidad. So
Dignidad. What in the heck is that?
yeah, we have an act of Congress, HR 4393, that's going through Congress that's not written in English.
So what does that mean?
So
Explain.
I brought this up because we talked about it, and this got brought up to me on the last podcast, which we didn't record last week, so it's been 2 weeks ago. I said if someone is here in the country illegally, but they are working, they're paying their taxes, they're contributing to society. We talked about all the home construction around here. I think they should have a path that's not, you're getting kicked out and you got to leave. And somebody said, well, there's an act in Congress right now that is just that. So I looked into it, and on the surface, yes. So this got introduced in 2025. It's basically a legal way to stay and work in the United States that does not grant citizenship. You are not eligible for any federal benefits. You can't sponsor any family members to come in. And then if you do 7 years in the program, pay $7,000 in fines and pay your back taxes, you basically get to stay here without threat of deportation unless you commit a crime. As long as you're working. And I'm like, well, on the surface, okay. Like, I can find some ways to be about that. But here's my issue with it. You have to have been here since 2010. It can't be somebody who's recent. So you have to have been in the country since 2010 doing this. Well, that's 6 years ago. Sorry, 16 years ago.
Yep.
Okay, so that is a track record of being in the country. But all you have to do is check a box to say you've been here that long. You don't have to prove anything because you're undocumented. So they're saying they can't prove anything. And like, here's my issue with that. Not that I'm saying everybody's going to lie, but everybody's going to lie. Like, if you haven't been here that long and you want this benefit, you're going to lie. Just like we talked about, if you're a man who has a family and you can break the law and come across the border and make your family's life better, what man's not going to do that? Like, so I'm not really faulting the person, but I'm like, everybody's going to lie on this. And what happens, what I don't like about this is that makes an incentive now for people to come across the border. Right now, like we talked about how border crossings are zero, which I'm sure they're not zero, but they are significantly lower. I will definitely concede that. And Trump's immigration policies have worked in that respect. That is due to enforcement. That's due to monitoring. That's due to the wall, things like that, barriers, physical barriers. But it's also due to people not wanting to come here because they know they're just going to get deported when they get caught.
Yeah.
Whereas if they came through under Biden, they had a good chance of getting to stay. If you pass this and you don't have to prove with documentation that you've been here for that amount of time, people are going to start coming over as crazy, just as much as they can, because they're just going to check the box and say you've been here since that time and try to get the benefit. So that's my problem with it. But I would be okay with something similar to this. And I'm sure that makes me a lefty and a liberal, but that's that.
Then so be it. I've kind of come to the conclusion too that we both, and maybe this is why our podcast works. And maybe that's why we don't argue enough about this kind of stuff, is because I agree. Like, why is there a date on it? Is it because we're trying, but this is by a Democratic and Republican congressman.
It's got Republican support, but what's funny
is the bill was introduced by a single Republican and a single Democrat.
Right. Yeah. It's bipartisan to start. You've got sponsors on both sides of the aisle on the bill. The reason it hasn't passed yet is because it works for everybody in the middle. But the people on the far right and really hard-nosed immigration types and the people on the far left and very extremely open immigration types won't vote for it. So
right.
it's like it's only caught, like you can look at the people who support it and they're all pretty much right in the middle. They're pretty moderate.
But it does say here, it calls the dignity program eligible for undocumented individuals who have lived in the United States for the last 5 years.
Okay, maybe I had the date wrong. 5 years.
And can apply for a 7-year legal status. So
Okay.
once they've been here for 7 years, you can receive legal status.
Okay. So that would be 12 years total.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Once you have to have lived here at least 5 years, and then at the 7th year is when you can receive your legal status.
Yeah, and I had the amount of time you had to be here wrong. 16 years would be a long time,
Yeah.
to be honest. But 5 years. But when I looked into it, there's no proof you have to provide for that 5 years. You could
It doesn't.
You
like
could
in
have
the
showed
Silver
up.
Quick thing,
You
it-
could have showed up yesterday and said, check the box on the application and say, "Yeah, I've been here 5 years."
Yeah.
Which gives an incentive for people to come across the border right now,
Right.
and I don't like that part of it.
And it says here you must pass a background check and back pay. You said back pay your taxes and then pay a $7,000
Yeah, but how are you going to do a
fee.
background check on somebody who's undocumented?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that
I
question.
think we've actually asked that question before on the pod. I think that's come up before.
If this is the first step, here's where I'm at on this. And again, I haven't swayed on this one way in the year and a half and 63 episodes. We just have to have a path for these people.
Yeah.
And it can't cost tens of thousands of dollars and take a decade.
Yeah.
And that's why you have the issues that you have. And this is not on the run sheet. I don't think anyways. But they're talking about now they're getting prepared for the census in 2030.
Yeah.
And they're trying to pass legislation to not count illegal immigrants in the census, or at least they don't count towards representation.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you, Clint. I thought that was already a thing.
Yeah. I did too.
I didn't know until we started doing this podcast that group of people was counted in representation, and it should not be.
Yeah.
It should not be. If you are not a legal citizen, you should not count towards representation.
Yeah. When we looked at this before, it had to do with some of those numbers talk about services and highways and that kind of stuff. So it's almost like you want two different numbers. It's almost like say, here's the number of people who are actually in this state. Here's the ones who are actual citizens, and that's what your representation should count.
Correct. And we spend billions, if not trillions of dollars of waste on crap. Why can we not easily do that?
I know.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
When I did our ancestry stuff, I got to see some of the old census from like when my grandmother, like when she was like a little baby, like a young kid, like we're talking about 1928 census. Wow. And like it's on paper, and you could see the person who walked up to the door. Like you can't see the person, but like literally somebody walked up to the door with a piece of paper and
just counted
and filled out. And there's names that are misspelled because they're just like, who lives here and what are their names? And like they're writing it down and it's all in cursive. So it's Gen Z can't read it, but it's really interesting if you ever want to go back and look up that
I
kind of
have
stuff.
done some of that stuff before. Like especially, I did a research project when I was in college on Ellis Island, and to go back and look at all of those names, and they're all written in cursive.
Yeah,
and they did a very good job of actually tracking people as they came in.
But that ancestry stuff is cool if nobody's ever done it. I'm not talking about the spit in a tube thing. I'll never do that. The 23andMe. I'm talking about looking back at the records because, I got to see my grandfather's draft card.
Wow,
He was in World War II, and I got to see his draft card.
By the way, did you see we barely missed that boat of being able to be drafted? They extended the age.
Oh, they did?
They did.
I'd go.
As long as we don't have a draft before May the 5th, I will fall into that category.
Right, I'm older than you, so I'm safe.
Yep.
I saw some people up in arms that they are starting to do it automatically, and I'm like, y'all, it's always been a thing.
I thought it was already a thing.
No, I had to register. Did you have to register? Like, I remember, like, this is so going to sound so. This is going to sound like it happened 100 years ago, with how like technological savvy we are these days. I had to go to the post office and they had those cards.
Yep.
And you had to go fill out a card and basically mail it in. And like, I'm 18 now.
Yep.
Yeah, I can be drafted. My dad's lottery number, his birth date, was one of the first ones picked for one of the Vietnam drafts.
Really?
So he would have gone.
Interesting.
But he had asthma, and they made him 4F, and he didn't have to go.
Interesting.
I might not be here. those first ones that went. It was the first. It was the first draft.
Yeah, they definitely did not come back.
Yeah.
What do we got here? Oh, okay.
Marjorie Taylor Greene's, of course, she resigned from Congress effective January 5th. They filled her seat week before last in a special election in Georgia. I thought it was a little bit interesting. A Republican won her seat. It stayed red, but he only won by 56%, and Marjorie Taylor Greene won by 64%. And I'm trying to decide. I think an 8-point swing is huge, but I'm trying to figure out what that means. If maybe they just didn't like him, or if there's actually a swing there. Now, the guy that he ran against is an Army vet, but he's the same one who's running against Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't put any weight in these kind of special elections whenever it comes to.
And also, it's such a small number. For example, like Marjorie Taylor Greene in 2024 got over 243,000 votes, whereas the guy who won this runoff got 72,000.
Yeah.
So it's much smaller. So we'll see when 28 comes around. I'm sorry, this year, 2026.
Right.
Because he'll have to run again for his own seat.
Yeah.
We'll see what those numbers are like.
I don't think, again, just like we have one coming in May where the runoffs with Paxton and Cornyn, those numbers are going to be incredibly low.
Yeah.
And because people don't go vote in those things.
And also, I do think it's a possibility that because this was a runoff and not a general, not a November election, that a lot of Republicans were like, no, we're a red district. Like, I ain't worried about it. Yeah. And so, but whereas, Democrats are trying to flip a seat, may have showed up in more numbers. So we may turn around in November for this seat and it'll be, those same margins may come back. But I thought it was something of note.
I would be willing to bet it's probably closer to the 64 rather than the 56.
Yeah. We'll put that one on the charts when we start looking at polls and we get close to the election. I'm excited.
In November.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I did not have on my bingo card for President Trump's.
Oh my gosh. This guy.
Okay, so I would say, generally speaking.
Did you post the meme I sent you? We need to.
I don't remember. I shared a lot of stuff this week when it comes to Trump Jesus.
Trump Jesus.
What the heck was he thinking?
What the heck has he been thinking for that whole week? Like, he drops the F-bomb, which I don't like anyway, but I really don't like it on Easter Sunday. Like, I think that is different. Like, if Trump drops an F-bomb somewhere, okay. I don't like it. I even in 2026, I don't like it. But
I don't like that word either.
But Easter Sunday, especially not. Then he does the whole Jesus thing. And, then he 2 days later after the F-bomb Easter Sunday, he's like, we're going to obliterate a civilization tonight.
Yeah.
Which didn't happen, but you don't want the commander-in-chief of the forces saying that. And then it's like he does the Trump Jesus thing, and then he goes in and like rails on the Pope, which I get it. Like, the Pope is soft on crime. Of course he is. He's the Pope. He doesn't have to actually rule anything. Like, he's a religious leader. He's not a politician. Like, he doesn't have to actually make any decisions that affect, I was about to say he doesn't make any decisions that affect anybody's lives. That's a dumb statement to say. But like, in the way of law.
Correct.
In the way of a society, in the way of a country. Like, of course he's going to be soft on crime. Trump gets so up in arms about the Pope saying stuff, and maybe it matters, and maybe the Pope has sway. I'm not a Catholic. I realize this can sound really out of touch. But of course he is. Like, Trump, get over it.
I want to talk about the Trump Jesus thing first. There's no way in God's green earth that he did not think that he was a doctor in that photo. No way.
No.
He is tech savvy enough. Somebody brought that to him and was like, hey man, this is kind of funny. He was like, you know what? Truth. Yeah. And he sent it out.
Yeah.
That's not that.
Him saying that he thought he was a doctor is him spinning it to make it sound better. I give 0% chance that he did not think he was portraying himself as Jesus.
And then
0%.
Oh gosh. he runs the night show that we like. Not Bill Maher. Jon Stewart.
Oh yeah.
It kind of looked like Jon Stewart in the bed as Trump's got his hand on his head. Like, this is so stupid. Why would you do that,
dude? You're wearing
that?
a white robe with a red scarf. Like, what is you
with the halo above his head?
Yeah. Have you ever seen a doctor look that way?
Get out of here.
No, that's dumb.
Get out of here. That is not even. Do not take your phone. That's somebody that needs to take a phone.
And here's
away
the
from
thing:
him.
I need a lot of people to understand. Like, if you're in a camp of Trump can do no wrong, like there's something wrong with that. Like, you've got to be able to call people out. Like, he's not perfect. If you are in the camp that Trump can do no wrong, then you're equating Trump with Jesus. Like, and it's totally fine to call it out and say he shouldn't have posted it. He shouldn't have dropped the F-bomb, especially on Easter. You know, he should not have done these things. And like, you heard people over and over again on the far right just defending it all day long.
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
That was the meme that I sent you. It's what's the dude? He was in War Dogs.
Jonah Hill.
And he's like doing I think it's a Wolf of Wall Street picture.
Yes,
he's
it is.
like,
yeah, it is.
You know, that look right there. And it's like when you've been defending Trump and then he put all day and then he posts himself as Jesus. It's like, you can't.
No.
And like we say, like we really are people who try to look at things from both sides. And we started the podcast because we believe there's like a both and part of most of all of these arguments, but we've been very pro Trump in Trump 2.0 because he has been doing a lot of things right and winning. Like these past year and 3 months, we've been very pro many things that he's done, and but this one, like, you gotta call a spade a spade.
And so now when you have something like that, then you get this clip right here.
Gosh,
and it's like,
poor RFK.
You get RFK again having to defend Trump.
You are the nation's top health official, and I want to talk to you today about the president's mental health. On April 5th at 8 o'clock on the morning of Easter Sunday, President Trump posted this statement on social media. Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. An American president used the F word in a Sunday morning message that was seen by millions of people. Mr. Secretary, does this raise concerns for you about the president's mental health?
The president is a bargainer. He knows how to make good deals.
Mr. Secretary, does this raise questions about the president's mental health to you?
Here's what I would say, that for 2 generations, every American president.
Mr. Secretary, you're being non-responsive. Reclaiming my time, Mr. Secretary, I gather the answer. It does not raise concerns for you. 2 days later, on April 7th, President Trump put out a statement that said, quote, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will," end quote. Mr. Secretary, the Commander-in-Chief of the United States military is calling for the eradication of an entire civilization. And 5 days later, the President started posting on Truth Social at 9 p.m. at night, continuing until 5 a.m. the next morning. It included an unhinged attack on Pope Leo, claiming Pope Leo was weak on crime. And then, later that day, the next day, President Trump posted this image of himself as Jesus Christ. Mr. Secretary, people across the country and around the world were deeply offended by this blasphemous image. Millions of Americans are questioning this president's mental fitness, his emotional stability, and whether he can carry out the duties of his office. Do you share their concerns about his mental health?
I want to call your attention to the last line of that.
Mr. Secretary, my question was, do you share their concerns about his mental health?
I want to call your attention.
Mr. Secretary, you're not being responsive. Apparently not reclaiming my time. Mr. Secretary, reclaiming my time. Mr. Chairman.
So
you are the nation's top
he goes back. He continues on. And that clip is like 8.5 minutes long.
Reclaiming my time.
And I get that is all parliamentary stuff. Like, I get it. But let RFK answer.
Yeah.
Now, again, he's going to talk in a circle because he obviously doesn't agree with the way that Trump handled that. But he's the human Health Services Secretary, not the Department of War.
And he's not a doctor.
And he's not a doctor. So, but RFK does go on, and after like 8.5 minutes, he does say, no, I don't have a problem with his fitness or his health, his mental health. He's fine. Now, again, should he be going out and tweeting and truth socialing those things? Absolutely not. He should not be. Because, again, he is the president of the United States. He is the commander-in-chief of the military, and he has to hold his tongue when he needs to. But it's also very apparent that he was very frustrated.
Yeah.
Because something that I'm hoping, this is my hope, is that there was something that he was told in that moment that he had just had enough.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, it's just time to go. And then now we'll transition into Iran. Like, I have seen clip after clip after clip of Democratic members of Congress and former Democrats, Kamala Harris and Obama, stating that they would have done the exact same thing that Trump has done.
Right.
Maybe not the blockade. I haven't heard that.
Before today.
Yeah. Like when Kamala was running for president, she's asked on MSNBC and CNN, what would you do about Iran? And she was like, I'm not going to play hypotheticals, but I would handle it. And so this is what Trump is saying he would do. We're going to play a clip from Hillary. Hillary's saying the same thing.
Obama even going back to his debates with Mitt Romney, talking about, any uranium enrichment is not okay. And Trump has turned out to be right about some of these things. Like they were saying, he could not, the missiles they sent to Diego Garcia, for example, were outside of the range.
Correct.
That Iran had said they had missiles they could send to. But Trump had been saying, no, they can send missiles further than what they're saying they can. And everybody's like, no, they can't. And then all of a sudden they send them to Diego Garcia, like, oh yeah, they just did.
Yeah.
Like they have missiles that they could hit London.
Exactly. And that has been totally swept under the rug.
Right.
By all of this. And so I think I don't agree. Here's what I don't agree with. I don't agree with the heavy-handed rhetoric on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to be heavy-handed in the press when you're talking to the press, if you want to be heavy-handed when you're talking to your press secretary and like Pete Hegseth,
right.
I'm perfectly fine with that. You cannot get on social media and do it from that platform. That's the problem that I have. Not necessarily the terms, not in the F word and the saying bastards and all that stuff. You should not be saying that on social media. You should not say that at all because you are holding a respectful office.
And here's the thing. I cannot like that and also not want Kamala Harris as president. Like
100%.
So much was made about mean tweets. And like, yes, some people took it too far. But I can not like when he makes fun of people. Like I can as a person, I can like say I don't like that. I don't like seeing that from the president, but still also be glad he's the president.
And this is not on the run sheet either. But before we go to Iran, so this week Joe Rogan was has been just totally going against Trump as far as the Iranian conflict.
Right.
He doesn't agree with it. He doesn't want that to happen. And he has been very, very vocal on his podcast for 4 or 5 episodes in a row that he is against it. And then on Saturday, he's in the White House with President Trump signing a bill for mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't, the name of it is escaping me. But it's a psychedelic drug.
They're going to allow it to be studied.
Yes, and used in some cases, and they're taking it off the. I don't exactly understand how like the drugs, like the formulation of drugs and how that all works.
Right.
I'm hoping the name of that drug comes back to me, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. But Rogan, along with Rick Perry, a former conservative Texas governor and a former House of Representatives from Tennessee, went on the Rogan podcast. It was passed in the state legislature in Texas this year, where they're going to begin to study in the state of Texas. Rogan apparently texted Trump and was like, look, can you please look into this? Mm-hmm. And Trump's response was absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's my point. Rogan has been very vocal against the Iranian conflict.
Yep.
And he has. When Trump came to the UFC, he stood up, he showed respect for Trump, he shook his hand, he greeted him with respect.
Yep.
And then now his representative who he voted for, he asks him to look in this. He does. And then now we have Rogan standing in the White House supporting this bill. And that is important.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that you would have seen this 4 years ago. You would have seen, oh, well, I hate this person and I hate this person and everything he does is absolutely wrong. No. Like, you can disagree. It's like what you just said. You can disagree with one thing or one aspect of that political agenda, but that doesn't mean A, you hate that person, and B, that you just totally disagree with everything else that they're doing.
Yeah, and I think that's because of who Rogan is. Like, now there's plenty of people who are going to hate everything Trump does just because he's Trump. And like I said, that Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, like, makes people different. But
so Ibogaine.
Yeah.
Ibogaine is the drug, and it's for PTSD, depression, and addiction.
Yeah.
Particularly opioids.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's one of those things where it's like I'm struggling with that, because it's like, not struggling. I agree with Rogan, right? Because I don't particularly like the Iranian conflict.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that our commander in chief has more information than I do to make the right decisions that's best for the country.
Right.
And I've said before, as long as we don't have boots on the ground, I can be somewhat supportive of it. And so far, we don't.
Yeah, I put a note on the run sheet that said, the strait is closed, the strait is open, the strait is closed, bridges and power plants, ceasefire, bridges and power plants. Like, there's been a lot of that, and that is, for lack of a more descriptive word, annoying, right? And yes, I did just, fill up the Suburban this morning with $3.74 gas, and like,
where'd you go?
Is that cheap?
No.
We were in Arlington.
Oh, I was at Buc-ee's this morning.
And what was it?
$3.29.
Oh man, yeah, we were in Arlington. We were coming back from seeing Bruno last night, but it's and thankfully we don't drive far. Like I say, we have very short commutes, and it hasn't affected us as much. But it is annoying. But at the same time, like, things are changing, things are getting done. The war might be winding down already.
I'm hopeful.
And like I said, we don't have boots on the ground. Like, it does for our definition of what that means. And gas sucks. Like, I get it. The weekly average last week was basically $4.09 a gallon. The national weekly average for all grades. The highest ever was June of 2022, which was under Biden. People like to point that out. It was over $5 a gallon, so more than $1 more than what it is right now. And that had a lot to do with Russia invading Ukraine in February, and then prices went up and up and up and had their peak in June. But
as I was driving to Florida
in 2022, it was interesting because you had Colbert and Kimmel saying, "I'll pay $15 a gallon for gas to be able to, do what we need to do here with Ukraine." Right. But now it's like, oh no, because of different guys in the White House.
Yeah,
like, just be consistent.
What did Hillary have to say about this?
This is when she was running in 2016.
Well, the question was, if Iran were to launch a nuclear attack on Israel, what would our response be? And I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran. Whatever stage of development they might be in their nuclear weapons program in the next 10 years, during which they might foolishly consider launching an attack on Israel, we would be able to totally obliterate them. That's a terrible thing to say, but those people who run Iran need to understand that, because that perhaps will deter them from doing something that would be reckless, foolish, and tragic.
Think about that. Like, literally just said, and this is when she was running for president. Okay, so yeah, it's 10 years ago, 2016. She said if they're at any stage whatsoever of developing, what's that?
Somebody playing a piano.
I think it's the TV.
Oh, it is.
It probably won't pick it up. If it does, we've got elevator music behind it or something. Our TV just turned itself on, and it's playing music. Interesting. Anyway.
It's nice jazz music.
Nice little light jazz. But she said, if they are at any stage at all of developing uranium, which no one disagrees they're developing uranium. People may disagree of where they're at in that stage, but no one disagrees that they're enriching uranium for a weapon. Everyone at least is on that same page. So they're meeting her first criteria. She says we're going to totally obliterate them. And the people who run Iran need to understand that. And she said, or if they foolishly try to attack Israel. Like, compare and contrast that with today, with people just completely against Israel. And you have Hillary Clinton in 2016 saying if they even try to touch Israel, we can obliterate them. completely off the map.
Right.
And like, yes, Trump said some strong words and he said it in a stronger fashion, but they're talking about the same thing. Like,
Exactly.
when Trump says we're going to annihilate a civilization, Hillary Clinton said 10 years ago we're going to obliterate them. Tell me, like, you find huge differences in those two words.
They're the same.
Right. It's the same thing. But Orange Man said it, so it's got to be bad.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
And so the latest ceasefire is with Israel and Lebanon.
Yeah.
And Trump came out and said, Israel, you need to back down.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to, like, during this ceasefire, there needs to be no more.
I don't think that Israel, like a lot of people are saying that we're only in this for Israel. I don't think that's true at all.
I don't agree with that either.
Israel is a problem in this sense because I've heard too many people talk about this for years now, that Benjamin Netanyahu needs a war to stay in power. He needs continuous conflict for him to be able to stay in power in Israel. That if he doesn't have a war, the popular support is against him enough in Israel that the only reason he continues to stay in power is because he has a conflict. And people trust him to handle the conflict. Multiple people across different podcasts and different type of commentators have said that. And so if that is true, which I do believe is true, it makes sense when you look at the support for it. Like, that's a problem.
100%.
He is a problem if he has to stay at war, because the United States will go and help our only real and strongest ally in that region.
And I can't help but wonder too if that's transitioning, because
of everyone else who helped on this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I wonder too, like, if those conversations that were happening early in Trump 2.0 with Saudi Arabia and UAE and some of those other countries like that, and India and
Pakistan.
I wonder if those things didn't play a bigger role in this.
Yeah.
I don't wonder. I know it did. I just don't know because I don't have that information. Does that make sense?
Right.
Before we hop into smoke sessions, I saw on, by the way, this is my second cigar of the night.
Yeah.
I saw a guy that said you should recut your cigar a little under halfway through your cigar.
Huh.
Or, so like, I like the V cuts. One, because this is the sharpest cutter I have, but also you can do it twice. And I like it. I just tried it with this one. It's really good.
This one started off bitter, but it got a lot better. It's like maybe there's just some bitter leaves at the end.
Maybe.
Or something. Or maybe it dries out from the end first, but it's a pretty fresh cigar. I just got it a couple weeks ago and it's been in the humidor, and the humidor's in good shape. But so I'll take it back. I'll probably get another one, but the Rocky Patel Vintage 2003 Cameroon.
The first one I smoked was a
Blue
Punch Golden Age. And then the second one I had was my go-to of late, La Roma de Cuba.
Those are good.
They are good. It was way better than the first one. All right, a little bit of smoke sessions as we finish up episode 63. TMZ is setting up in D.C. This comes from The Hill. Do you have a problem with that?
Were they were only in L.A. before or something?
They were not. They did not cover a whole lot of
politics
and politicians.
I guess you're right about that. I mean, I feel like you see a lot of clips of them talking about like Trump-related things, so they've kind of gotten into it.
Well, I can't help but wonder if it's because now politicians are becoming celebrities.
Oh, for sure.
And
I think you have a bigger swath of the population who cares so much more about politics than they do about what the Kardashians are doing.
I agree with you 100%. And I can't help but also wonder if Hollywood is dying because the movie industry is kind of taking a back seat.
Yeah.
And so you're now seeing more light shed on the politicians, and their stories are way more interesting and a lot more scandalous.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if you're going to see more of these TMZ type stories become more prevalent.
Yeah.
I mean, because Trump he is a former celebrity, and you're seeing more and more of that demographic of people get into politics. So it'll be interesting.
Sense.
The Colombians are euthanizing hippos.
Yeah, Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos. I saw that, and they apparently just cannot be cured.
The only way they can get rid of them the only way they can eradicate them is to just kill them off.
Yeah.
I read somewhere it started with 4, and this comes from CBS News. At one point, there's 4, and now they don't even know how many there actually are.
Hippos are tanks. They have single-digit body fat percentages.
Really?
They look like a big old fat piece of lard. Those things are as lean as a bodybuilder.
Interesting.
Yeah. They are like single-digit, like 4 to 6% body fat. They're
And
tanks.
up to 80%, or excuse me, up to 80 hippos would be eradicated within the next 2 months. She did not say when the hunting would begin. So they're going to have to hunt these things. Would you like to guess the nickname of these hippos?
No.
The cocaine hippos.
That's what I've heard.
Makes sense, right? Makes sense. Family is suing the energy drink company Alani
Yeah.
for their daughter who was a cheerleader. I have 2 takes on this.
Go ahead and kill that for me. That's driving me nuts. Sorry. I'm going to mute our mics.
Okay.
That's why y'all should live stream on the Twits, because you get to see behind the scenes whenever my TV in the garage turns itself on all of a sudden and starts playing elevator music. But then somebody started talking and I was like, I can't handle it. Like, it's probably not in the mics, but even with my ears in, I could hear it. So maybe it was. It's getting picked up in your mic a little bit. So
that's hilarious.
I was like, I'll have to clean that up in post production. But
we're back.
And we're back.
I was gonna say something, but now I forgot what I was gonna say.
Cocaine hippos.
No, we moved on from that. Oh,
Okay.
family suing energy drink company.
Yes.
Alani, 2 parts of this. One, I have recently picked up the little 12-ounce monsters, the Monster energy drinks, and the problem with me and drinking carbonated drinks is I drink them too fast. That is not a drink. That is not a drink. I drink one, and my heart the other day, I thought it was going to explode out of my chest. And we've talked about the amount of caffeine consumption that I consume in a day.
Yeah.
It's well over
You're an expert.
the recommended dosage.
Yeah.
But man, that thing,
You're not a lightweight.
no.
You take in some caffeine.
So this young lady was drinking 6
She had 6
a day.
I had to talk to my daughter about this, like, because I saw the link, and my daughter drinks Alani, and she loves them, and like, that's almost like a way that I can be like super dad is when I'm at Costco and they have like 3 different flavors.
Yes.
And I'll send her pictures and I'll be like, all right, which one do you want?
Yeah, I got you.
And
Same.
I'm like super dad on that. But I told her, I was like, listen, like, this is serious. You can have your one a day, but I don't want you grabbing one out of the fridge and then like also grabbing one from Buc-ee's. And like, no, this is, and I'm serious about that. And she's like, Dad, he was like, she had like 6 of them. Everybody's talking about it at school. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't want you to have 2. Like,
Yeah, 6 is a lot. That is a lot.
And you wonder, like, it's tragic, but I really wonder, did she not know? Because maybe you just really like the flavor of Alani, but like, maybe you smash 6 of them pretty close together before you start feeling the effects. But like, if not, like, parents, if you have these energy drinks in your house, like, don't assume your kids know what caffeine is. Show them the Saved by the Bell episode for the dangers of caffeine.
I'm so excited.
Jesse, like,
I'm
you would
so
think,
scared.
I'm just so scared.
She was taking caffeine pills.
But like, it's a real thing. Like, but yeah, for real. Like, if
But
don't
apparently she was
assume your
doing-
parents understand. Don't assume your students and your kids understand what caffeine is and how dangerous it can be.
But it is also interesting that she had been doing this for weeks and months.
Mm-hmm.
And that's expensive, man.
It is, yeah.
That's a $50 a day habit. I mean, when you really think about it, like, if you're drinking that many, those things are $5 or $6
It's
a
like
piece.
Dave Chappelle said, caffeine's a hell of a drug.
It is. Boy, when I read this article, I will say I have been very conscious of it. And it's sad that those things have to happen for you to think about it. But so then on the day I read this article, I looked around my room in first period and there were 9 energy drinks of some form or fashion in my room. And I'm like, man, that's so bad.
Yeah. Have a
So
talk.
bad.
Have a talk with your kids.
Camp Mystic is trying to reopen this summer.
Saw that.
The this comes from ABC News. For those that don't know, the Camp Mystic is the camp in South Central Texas that had the flood that came
last July 4th. So 10 months ago.
It's in the court right now because of the parents who still have the daughter who is missing, has sued to keep it from opening this summer.
Yeah.
I don't think this place should open back up.
Like different circumstances, obviously, like act of God, like flood versus, a madman. But like it's the same reason. Like I feel like they tore down Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
Like that's just how I feel about that.
And I hate it because if it's my understanding.
Not to mention, like you still have the buildings right on the riverbank.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
it's still right there.
Those definitely shouldn't reopen. Like you can I think you could keep the property, but I think like you tear everything down and start over. And I know that's easier said than done, but create a whole new camp, change the name, whatever. Like,
but it's my understanding this is a family owned camp.
Yeah.
Is that correct? And I didn't listen to all of it because it's just so tragic, but just listening to some of the court videos and the court recordings, it just sounds such a bad idea, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that this family that owns this camp is not completely at fault with all of this. It's just an act of God type situation. But it's just like, man, you got to give it at least a year. Don't open up this year.
Yeah.
Because what if, God forbid, something else happens?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it just, that's one of those ones where I'm like, we're signing up our kids for summer camps and stuff like that and looking at summer camps and vice versa. And one of the ones that we were looking at, you have to sign a release form that says that there is a possibility this is on I don't remember exactly the phrasing of it, but it said something along the lines of there is a floodplain within distance of this camp. And so it was like, oh, I wonder if
that never would have been in there before.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
We sent our kids to camp the week after this happened last year.
Oh,
not to this camp. And one of those camps has river in the name of it.
Mm-hmm. Didn't we have a conversation?
I think we did. Yeah. And they had to like basically say like, I know we're called this, but the river's way far away. Like we're way up high and it's way over there. And like, you're okay. But I know there were still some parents who didn't.
This comes from The Hill. Young men, more young men than women say that religion is more important to them. 57% of men in the demographic of 18 to 54. I found this interesting as we see this conservative movement. We didn't talk about this earlier in the podcast, but this Tuesday, which would be the 21st at 6 p.m. Central Time, Trump is going to read the Bible.
Yeah, it's all week different. Like they're reading the entire Bible in a week is what this is a part of. And he's got a piece of it. Like there's several famous people throughout the time who are reading pieces throughout the week.
And so I find this interesting as we look at a generation who is is sunsetting their life. And we see people from our generation now starting to take power in certain demographics and in certain offices, that this is becoming very prevalent. I will tell you, I go to what would be considered a mega church. And any time that I'm in service, and especially in the since post-COVID, I would say, one church I attended was a very large church. The church I attended before that would be considered a medium church. There are a lot of men in that demographic there.
Yeah.
And they're searching for something.
Yeah.
And they're looking and they're trying to find meaning and cause for their life. And this is a great place to start.
Yeah. I see it as a positive. As a Christian myself, I think that's a great thing to see that. I think we would both say growing up in church, the women always did so much more, were responsible for so much more than the men were. And there was kind of an imbalance there. And so I think that's a very good thing.
Well, and also you see these social media pastors is what I'll call them. I don't really know if that's the proper term, but you see them a lot on social media who are calling men out saying, look, the generation before us did not do a good job, and we're part of that problem, and so we need to try to fix it.
Yeah, I like it.
And I like the push for the nuclear family. The state of Tennessee, I believe,
I saw that.
Posted this on our socials, has changed one of the weeks to Nuclear Family Month.
Yep. The rebranding June is Nuclear Family Month instead of Pride Month.
Okay. And so
I don't know if rebranding is the right word, but that's what they're doing.
that was the terminology they used.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so it's interesting to me that this is starting to be a push as we see the conservative movement really start to take hold. And that is traditionally fallen into that traditional movement.
Yeah.
This would be a very interesting conversation to have with our friend of the show, Brent Money.
Yeah.
I think that would be something that we need to get on the docket here in Texas.
Let's do it.
All right. This comes from the Dallas Morning News. The HERE Act has sunset, but it is going to be on the House floor this week. If you don't know what the HERE Act is, this is an act that was passed in 2016, I believe. I don't want to get the dates wrong. But anyways, Trump signs into law strengthening the Holocaust family's claims to Nazi-looted art. This also shows how important history is to see that, almost 100 years later, 1939, I guess not quite 100 years, 80 years later, we're still having this conversation of art that was stolen from these families in Poland and in Germany, and then being sold. And a lot of this art that they're discussing in the article, again, I posted this on our socials, is being held in private, galleries or owned by national museums. The one that I saw was a very, very famous painting done by said artist. I don't remember who it was, but it's in a national museum, and on the back is the family name.
Wow.
And so the family sued, and there's proof on the back of that art, on the back of that piece of art, that family did own that at one point. And obviously this piece of art is worth millions and millions of dollars. So like the museum doesn't want to let it go because they want it to be on display, but it was a stolen piece of art.
So the West Wing season 2, episode 10 was a Christmas episode.
Okay.
I remember that. And there was a visitor in the White House, but the visitor comes in and sees a painting and has a very visceral reaction to it. And she doesn't speak English, and so she has to go through an interpreter, and like everybody's like, I remember the press secretary was like, CJ Craig, she's like, what is going on? Like, why are you reacting to this piece of art? Like, is it offensive or something like that? And it was from France, and I believe from her family, and it was a Nazi looted piece of art. So if you want to see a West Wing episode, as we like to talk about the West Wing a lot on the pod, it's
text me that because I do want to watch that.
Season 2, episode 10.
Season 2, episode 10. I'll have to watch that this evening. I've gone back and watched House of Cards. I'm in the process of it.
Oh man,
I haven't
watched that in a minute.
As I'm watching it, I'm like, what year did this come out? So it's 2013 was season 1.
Yeah,
it is so scarily accurate to what we're seeing now because, and I think people forget too. Like and we've discussed this too. Like 2018 to 2020, 22 ish is when social media really came to the forefront, and everyone had it. So like prior to that, you didn't know a lot of things. You read the news, you trusted your cable news network. And as I'm watching this, I'm like, how did people not know?
Yeah.
Like this is exactly what we know to be true in some cases. Obviously it's historical fiction or political fiction, but there's always a little bit of truth in all of that.
Yep, and spoiler alert, they had to kill off Kevin Spacey because his stuff started to come to light towards the end of that series. And so that was not the way they wanted to end that series. I do remember that.
Yeah.
But they had to kill him off. And it's got Janae in it, too.
I can't remember.
Her name's Robin something.
I can't remember how they kill him off.
That's a heart attack. It's like, because it happens
off
screen. Yeah, it's like you come back to this episode and he's not here anymore.
Oh, I forgot about that. Well,
same way they killed off. Oh, no, never mind. Different story. Go ahead.
Now I'm curious. Killed off who?
No, it's different.
Oh, okay. AT&T Stadium will be rebranded for the World Cup.
Yeah, because they don't allow sponsorship.
Which
is dumb. Like you're talking about people that have sponsors all over their jerseys, but it's like you cannot call the stadium.
Well, and I saw Houston is doing the same thing.
Yeah, they all have to.
And I'm interested to see how they do this. This comes from Fox 4 News in Dallas. And the image shows just a picture of Dallas Cowboy Stadium. And on the very top is the lighted AT&T Stadium. And it's all over that building. So how are they going to do that?
They're not going to cover it.
I don't know.
Like I could understand on the top if they just don't light it up, but it also has the logos, the big blues
on each end.
Yeah.
But if I remember correctly, last time I was in there, It's on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to take that big scoreboard
Everything
down.
is like you got WinStar on the bottom of the big board and the Jerry World board, but I don't know what they're going to do.
Okay, so here's the next question. If you're not from Texas and you don't know and you're listening outside of the country, which by the way, have you looked at downloads?
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? Somehow we got a little bit popular all of a sudden and bam, all over the world we're getting people downloading.
Got a wide reach.
Hold on. Pause that. Put a pin in that conversation. I saw somebody say that during the Iranian conflict when we were bombing Iran, that the spam calls that they received stopped.
Yeah, I think it's a joke though.
And
right?
I was like, wait a minute. It has slowed down.
It did. It has slowed down. But
The amount of spam calls I've gotten have picked up now that we're in the ceasefire.
here's the thing.
I'm sure it's just coincidence.
I know, but I didn't realize, or maybe I'm just dumb, but I didn't realize you had spam call banks in Iran. I didn't know that's where there were a bunch
I
of
didn't
them.
know that either.
Maybe that's the whole point of the war. We talk about blowing up military facilities, but we're actually just blowing up call centers. I don't know.
Could be true. Could be true. I don't
Could
know.
be.
I don't know. No judgment from this podcast. But I am curious how they're going to do that. So like if you're not from Texas, as I was saying a while ago.
Well, I'm not going to be able to see it in person because I'm still looking at those tickets, and that's not going to happen unless I win the lottery, which I don't play.
I don't know if I've told you this yet, but I'll have to tell you off air. I may have us an in.
We're going to Vegas in a couple weeks, but I'm not going to be betting enough money to win.
I may have us an
World
in.
Cup
We
tickets.
may have presidential suites.
Oh,
I'm
fancy.
working on it. I'm working on
and
it.
you're not going to help a brother out because I didn't get you Bruno tickets.
I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
I got 4. I asked for 4
Man,
because I'm that guy.
yeah.
So
You're
we'll
better
take
than-
the
You're better
spouses.
than me.
But I may know someone who knows a president of a country,
Oh,
and so that country is coming to the Dallas stadium, and so I've reached out and he's working on it.
let's do it.
So we may get to go to one of the games.
We got to
in
wear
the
their colors.
suite.
I don't care.
Yellow, red, and green,
Okay,
and we would get to meet him. So
All
I'm
right.
pretty excited about
that's
that.
pretty excited.
Now
We do a podcast segment.
I'm going to ask if we can interview him.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
Yeah.
The chances of that happening are not 0, but it's definitely like 5%,
Yeah.
10% at the most.
As I say, the chances are slim and none, and Slim just left town.
Yeah. So, but I'm curious why they picked Dallas Stadium and not something else. I'm wondering why, because it's not
It's in
technically
Arlington?
It's in Arlington.
Yeah.
And Arlington is about to spend about $1 billion to keep the Cowboys
Mm-hmm.
for another 30 years, which I don't know why Jerry would want to move them from there. I mean, there would be nowhere else he could go.
That stadium was 2006.
Yeah, something like that. So the contract is it's like a I
So
think
yes, they've been there 20 years.
almost, yeah.
That's crazy.
But it's hard to wrap my brain around that it's been around that long.
Yeah.
Because I still remember old
Jerry World. Oh, the Texas,
Stadium.
Yeah.
That was in Irving. And then lastly on Smoke Sessions is 80 students were forced to do 400 push-ups causing injuries to their kidneys. This comes from KLTV out of San Antonio. This charter school in San Angelo had their athletes doing push-ups via a whistle without water or breaks during that. It caused some kidney failure in several students.
You're a coach.
This is what I was hoping you were going to ask.
How do the red flags not go off in your head of like, oh, we should stop? Or how do you get on a track where you're like, we're going to make them do 400 push-ups today? I'm not a coach, and I understand how that's a problem.
I don't know the answer to that question. There is never, not one time in my coaching career of almost 20 years of where I've thought we're about to cross a line to where we might get fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never, not one
And
time.
The other side of that, what are you teaching them by making them do 400 push-ups?
Nothing.
Like, that's just...
Well, and what's bizarre to me is I saw this article on Facebook, I think, and like the comment sections was like, man, my coach made us do this in the 80s. And I'm like, but you got to understand, these kids are not conditioned for that.
No.
Like,
And 400 push-ups.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Man, that's a lot of push-ups.
It's a lot of push-ups. Like I was thinking about the other day when I was working out at CrossFit, and one of the workouts was like 100 push-ups, and it was like there were 3 sets of it. So it was 300 push-ups. I couldn't get through it. And I was like not being forced to do this. Yeah. This was a choice of mine. And I think the problem...
It was how many?
Huh?
It was how many?
It was 3 sets of 100. So 300. It was a crazy workout. It was like the workout of the day or whatever. It was like you had to do so many pull-ups, so many push-ups, so many squats. And it was all based on body. It was a body weight workout. And I was like, this is dumb. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And so I say this often, like this guy, 2 thumbs pointing at himself, is not going to do something that's going to cost his job. No. Not going to do that.
No.
Like nothing, I'm not proving at any point by making myself lose my job. Mm-mm. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And even like I am very conscientious. I've said this before. Like I'm very conscientious. There are cameras everywhere. Mm-hmm. Even if I'm not being recorded by a student, every single facility that we go to has a camera.
That's what I'm talking about is like, you're not going to do that. But also one of the reasons you're not going to do it is there's no benefit to it.
No.
Like
they're going to be sore for a week.
The benefit for whatever coach made them do that was their own ego, their own anger, whatever it is.
100%.
And that person as a coach, like, man, that's ridiculous.
And like, again, I was sitting here thinking like because, you know, my dad was a coach. So I've been around coaches a very, very long time. And even in the 80s and 90s, when my dad was a coach, I don't remember them. Like they yelled a lot more than what they do now. But like you think about it, our kids at our school and most schools in this area, which is North Central Texas, practice indoors in the heat. We have rules. Like you cannot, like it's called a wet ball, and it sits in the sun. And if it hits a certain point, you cannot even go outside because it's just too hot. And so you see a lot of these schools building these indoor facilities, or like a carport style, like open air, but there's shade. Like we just went to one over in Commerce the other day, and it's 100 yards, but it's completely covered.
Right.
And now there's parts of it where it's not covered in the shade, but in the shade, it was a hot day. It was like 92 degrees that day. On the turf, it was about 104.
Yep.
Because we had that wet ball out there, or they had the wet ball out there because you can't even run track if it's too hot. And so they had that out there, but in the shade, it was like 84 degrees because there was a breeze blowing through there, and that attests the true air temperature versus the open air. You know what I mean? Where the sun is beating down.
Right.
I can't imagine doing something like this.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind because, and then they wrap all coaches into this same category.
Yeah.
Where, I don't know. And the other thing too is like kids played outdoors a lot more when we were young. And so you think about your summer, like my summer was spent playing at, 10 o'clock out. You had to be outside by 10 o'clock, and we played outside all day.
Right.
And so, but that started in April.
Yep.
Where by the time June rolled around and it's 104 degrees outside, my body has adjusted to that heat.
Right.
And so you're not just sending them straight outside to do all this stuff. But now it's heat acclimation.
Yeah.
Where, because a lot of these kids don't go outside a whole lot in the summertime.
Right.
Or they're at water parks, or they're traveling or whatever. And so for the first 10 days, they have heat acclimation periods where they can only be outside for 30 minutes. And I'm just giving you an example. 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the night. Then you can go to 35. Then you can go to 40. Then you can go to 45. So they're acclimating those kids' bodies to the heat. And especially in Texas, when it's August, they definitely shouldn't be out there in pads until they've acclimated. That's something that drives me crazy about Little League football.
Yeah.
Like it's the week after the 4th of July, it's 112 degrees outside, and they're in full pads.
Full pads, yeah.
Like my kid will never do that. I can promise you that.
No.
And so it's just one of those things where you just got to be careful. Don't cost yourself a job just because you have an ego. Any big plans for the week?
This is a nice little week. My wife teaches, her big state test was last week. And like, even though yours too, and like
mine too,
even though I don't do that job, our family begins to like chill a little more when that's done.
Right.
And so it's like, all right. I just feel better for her. Like her test is out of the way. All that's done. There's a little less stress, kind of shifts. I do like it's getting warmer. We had a nice little cool snap this weekend. Like you say, weather was great. But I'm probably going to pull the boat out and put a good wax on the hull and get it ready, man, because boat season's coming up. So we're a week and a half left of April, a couple weeks left of April, and then less than 2 weeks left of April. And dude, then it's May, and then it's like weeks. I mean, we had my oldest daughter is at a senior dinner tonight that the church is doing for all the senior kids, and so that's cool. We've got next week. She's a drill team, and so they have their hanging of the hat, where they get to basically their senior walk. Football team does it, things like that. Oh yeah.
Have you cried yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. I've had proud. I've had proud misty eye times, but I haven't cried yet. It doesn't qualify until you got them like falling. It's got to be the emoji for me. But so it's like we have that kind of stuff. Then we have so that's this next weekend, hanging of the hats, and then we're going to be in Vegas. Thankfully, there's nothing that weekend. Then the following weekend, she has her college graduation to get her associate's degree. So like she's got a graduation in 3 weeks from yesterday, where she's going to graduate from college before she graduates from high school.
That's amazing.
And with her associate's degree, the weekend after that, we've got my oldest son's championship tournament. The weekend after that, we've got my youngest son's got a soccer tournament. The weekend after that's the end of school, Memorial Day weekend. Graduation's 2 days after that on a Tuesday. Her graduation party is the week after that. Like, so it's really coming in. We had prom, last weekend. We got the graduations and the ceremonies and we're in it. Like there's a big event every single weekend until we get to June.
In our household, if we could get through March and April, we're good. So in that kind of, our club volleyball season's over. So that's ended. My test is over. I still have I teach 2 preps. So world history is like a district test. So it's not quite as high stake. It is high stakes, but not quite the same. But I do, I'm not envious of the senior year. We found out this week, this is kind of crazy. And I know that we have a lot of people that listen that are in our same phase of life. My oldest is going to graduate, it looks like, with her bachelor's degree in October.
Wow.
So she graduated a year ago, and she's going to end up finishing her bachelor's degree in October.
Yeah.
And so
that's amazing.
I guess, it was kind of always in the conversation of what we were going to, that was her plan. Mm-hmm. But now that it's actually like kind of coming to fruition, that it's actually going to happen, I'm like, dang, that's so fast.
Yeah.
So fast. But she's killing it. She could theoretically be a certified teacher at this time next year. At her age, it's kind of wild, but she's killing it in life, and gonna have very, very little, if no, student loan debt, which is a big benefit for us.
Yeah, that's huge.
And I'm really, really excited for her.
I mean, that is huge.
So, but yeah, it's kind of dwindling down the school year. Somebody asked the other day, they're like, "Oh, well, your year's almost over. Then you get the summer." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm a coach, so I get like a week off, and then it's in the mornings, so it's not that big of a deal, But still, I got to be up there almost every day."
We're really trying to intentionally have some margin and be able to enjoy our June, because we got July 4th weekend, and then my middle daughter is going into high school, so she'll have summer band. Talking about being out on the concrete, but they do early mornings and things like that. So, so she's super excited for that. I'm super excited for her about that. And then, like, you know how it is. Like, the school starts early and earlier every year. Wife will have to go back for teacher and all that kind of stuff. So it'll go quickly, but we're trying to set aside some time to keep June pretty open for chill time to relax and get some margin.
We always do the last 2 weeks of June. So that way it's like you have those 2 weeks, and then you go into 4th of July, which is a mandatory shutdown for all schools.
Yep.
And then that week after 4th of July. So there's like a 3 to 4 week window where we try to get as much in that window, because then like volleyball starts essentially. Then we got team camps and school camps. And, I got a daughter going into middle school. And so it's like,
But you have to plan to not do anything.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, you have to actively plan if your plan is to not do anything.
Yeah.
You can't just, because otherwise stuff will just fill it up.
Yeah.
So you got to say no.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you have to be very intentional about it. By the way, I just got a text message that said, "When did I do CrossFit?" That was when I was working at Miller Grove. And the coach that I worked with, we would work out in the morning before the boys got there. Then we would work out with the boys when they got there. Then we would go through school, and then we would work out again in the afternoon. Yeah. So that's the answer to that question.
Yeah. Sounds like overload.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. But yeah, I'm excited. You know, kid pitched baseball. He took his first hit by pitch.
Did you see? You probably didn't. We were hanging out. My wife and some of her like neighbor friends, girl friends, had a movie night, and so they went to one of the houses, like just a little 4-house pod right here. We all hang out to one of those houses, watched a movie. Where all the guys were like, "Well, all the wives are over there watching a movie," so we hung out in another neighbor's garage, and we were watching the A&M LSU baseball game, men's baseball game.
Okay,
dude, like from. Okay, it's bad. I don't remember. I think he was on A&M's team. Got hit in the face.
I saw that.
Did you see? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh! And he popped up and like touched, like make sure everything's still there. But that was wild. Dude got binged in the face.
Did you see?
And that pitcher was all over the place.
Yeah,
like it took him a while to settle down, but he got settled down.
Well, did you see? I've seen a lot of them this year where the catchers are trying to frame the ball in Major League Baseball. They're trying to frame the ball a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guy went to frame the ball and he missed, and it got him right in the cup. And you can they slow it down, you know, and the announcer's like, "Oh," and I swear to you, you could hear the cup break.
Shrapnel.
Yeah, and oh my goodness. So, but yeah, I'm excited about the end of the year, and things kind of slow down a little bit for us. And so now that, you know, we're kind of through that season of this year, it makes it a lot easier.
For sure.
So, have a great week, man.
See you.